Fuck you, Baltimore!
If you're dumb enough to buy a new car this weekend,
You're a big enough schmuck to come to Big Bill Hell's Cars!
bad deal.
Cars that break down!
Thieves.
If you think you're gonna find a bargain at Big Bill,
You can kiss my ass.
it's our belief that you're such a stupid motherfucker.
You'll fall for this bullshit.
Guaranteed.
If you find a better deal,
Shove it up your ugly ass!
you heard us right.
Shove it up your ugly ass!
Bring your tray.
Bring your title!
Bring your wife.
We'll fuck her!
That's right, we'll fuck your wife.
Because at Big Bill Hell,
You're fucked 6 ways from Sunday.
take a hike
to Big Bill Hell.
home of challenge pissing.
That's right.
Challenge pissing.
How does it work?
If you can piss 6 feet in the air straight up and not get wet,
You get no down payment.
don't wait.
Don't delay.
Don't fuck with us or we'll rip your nuts off.
Only at Big Bill Hell.
The only dealer that tells you to fuck off.
Hurry up, asshole.
This event ends the minute after you write us a check.
And it better not bounce or you're a dead motherfucker.
Go to hell.
Big Bill Hell's Cars.
Baltimore's filthiest
And exclusive home of the meanest sons of bitches in the state of Maryland.
guaranteed.
Are you getting yourself ready for our show?
Well, all right, everybody, Jigs and Bigs. We're recording this. It is the day after Christmas. Man, I feel so bloated and like such a giant piece of shit. Also, new advertising. We'll we'll speak on that a little bit later. Have we sold our souls? Fuck you, Baltimore. Apparently we have, folks. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up for you guys in this show. This is our best of 2021. We're going to take a look at what some of our best moments. We're going to talk about what you guys thought some of your best moments were, or the best moments of the show just in general. We got all kinds of good stuff. We have a huge giveaway announcement that's coming up. We have one of our most popular guests is back. And we're going to have a little follow-up. One of our most popular guests. We're going to talk about those most popular guests in just a bit. Guys, we have so much good stuff coming up. We've got birthday wishes. We've got giveaway stuff. We've got results from surveys. We've got data. All kinds of good stuff for you guys this week on Jigs and Bigs. Trust me, we are not scraping the bottom of the barrel today. In fact, we're celebrating some of the highest points of anything that we've ever put out before. And it's all for you guys. So get yourself comfortable. Grab yourself something delicious and seasonal to drink. Right now, I'm sipping on an Everything Nice from Amagong Brewery. Little upstate New York goodness. Don't go too far, guys. We got much more coming up after this. It is Jigs and Bigs with the year in review. It's 2021, guys. Oh, it's a good feeling. It's a good well, it's a terrible feeling, to tell you the truth. To be perfectly honest with you, the terrible feeling is the fact that I feel like a walrus. I have eaten like almost like
everything.
Almost as if like a cardiologist had dared me to like look death in the face. And let me just start this by saying, you've witnessed what my father can do in the kitchen with a giant side of beef. And the man upped the game. We did a little prime rib on Christmas Day, and it was fantastic. I think where I went wrong was with desserts. We'll talk about desserts in a minute. But Sean, how are you today?
I'm just busy playing with all my new gifts from Christmas. I got stuff.
That's
I got
awesome,
stuff, dude. I got stuff.
Stuff is good. It's nice to get stuff. It's nice to have stuff. It's been a weird week. It's been super busy. We're going, and this week is like just this week that we're in currently. Like there's so much going on right now between Christmas and New Year's. So Christmas was good over at the Fisherman House.
It was all right, man. Well, my kids are older now,
Yeah.
and they're old enough that they still love Christmas, but they're not old enough to have been like in a party-induced slumber.
Gotcha.
So they still got up early, and I stayed up late the night before.
Yep.
Well, I actually sent you a text. I was working on some show stuff up until, 1 o'clock in the morning? When did I send you I sent you a message at like 12:30 on
Some of it was
morning.
Pretty late, yeah.
Yeah, well, here's what my youngest son did, because Christmas Eve kind of went the way of COVID this year. So the normal place that we go to is one of my aunt's house on my mom's side, and they decided to keep it extremely small, which is smart. And they, that was nice.
I thought I hit mute. I apologize.
Remind me to belch and fart over your monologue sometime.
I thought I hit mute, buddy. I apologize.
Fail. But no, so we didn't go there this year. They didn't have the big party, like I said, and then we just really stayed at home by ourselves. And during that day, when we knew that nobody was coming over, my youngest son said, and I both hate and love him for this.
Yeah,
we've been watching The Mandalorian.
Okay,
and The Mandalorian, as being a popular television show, popular fucking Disney Plus show.
Yep, Disney Plus and Thrust. Yep. Disney Plus and Thrust. I have not heard that one. Look at me. Really?
Look at you getting with the kids there. All right.
Just elevating the Netflix and chill game. That's all I'm trying to do.
Disney Plus and Thrust. I'm gonna have to run that one by the way.
That's my Christmas gift to you.
Thanks. So my youngest son, after watching The Mandalorian, where they bring all sorts of Star Wars shit in there, including those fucking horrible 3 prequels, which, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to my opinion on those in a second, but my son had never seen them.
Okay.
Because I was a responsible parent and said, you will not watch that garbage under my watch until you're old enough to understand what true shit it is.
Quality is and trash is.
Now, I should make mention, the third one is passable because of the insane amount of violence in it, and it goes right into Darth Vader. So you're cool with that, right? And these are 20-year-old movies, so I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But the first 2 are steaming piles of shit. So when we watch, he said, I want to watch all 3. And we started whatever time in the afternoon, watched the first one. He's like, what just happened? I go, it's taken me 20 years and I kind of have a grasp on it. It's just the acting and the storyline is so bad or so poorly executed. It takes a few painful watchings just to get what's going on with all the double play and shit, whatever. So we watched the first 2. And then I said, okay, here comes the third one. This is Revenge of the Sith. This is like literally the story of Darth Vader. Roll into this one. This one's passable, right? And he got it. And then I said, it was, I think, 10:30 at night, 10:30 on Christmas Eve. And we finished that one up. And I said, I need a palate cleanser. And he said, oh, yeah, what? I said, we're watching Rogue One.
There you go.
We're going chronologically through it. And I felt much better about going to bed. And I finished up that work that we were doing. And
nice.
Whenever 12:30 or 1 o'clock rolled around, I said, okay, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, my oldest son didn't want to sleep in.
Oh,
he got
gotcha.
up. He got up at fucking 5 o'clock or 5:30, and I wanted to go downstairs and throttle him. Yeah. I was like, "No, well, you're too old for this shit. Go to sleep. What the fuck?" Well, that didn't happen. So we got up, and let me tell you, I'm gonna just veer right into what Christmas gifts that I received that were fishing related because I got 4 of them. Now there was a couple gift cards from relatives from far away, which is nice. Anyway, I don't ask for anything. I just, if they send a gift card, hell, I'll use it. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
So that I got one, a couple fishing related stores. And then I did ask Santa for a few items and I received all of the items I received. The big one was I asked for a Backroads truck tent for the bed. And I received it. So that's something I'll be using and reviewing over the course of the year. To go along with that, which I didn't ask for, and Santa said, "You know what? You got that? I'll hook you up.
I'm going to throw you a little something extra there. You've been a good little boy."
Yes, for the tent, Santa fired my way. I'm going to screw up the brand here. It's Odoland, Odoland. All right.
Okay.
It is a hanging, D battery powered lantern.
Oh, that's awesome.
And fan.
Oh, that is awesome, dude.
Yeah. So when it's August or whatever, and I got to use this thing in a tournament or whatever, I am not sweating my balls off.
You can get some air circulation in there. That's awesome, dude.
Correct. And then the final thing that I asked for Santa, for one, well, I put it on my Santa list, and I think one of my sons took care of it. My younger did.
There you go.
I think we mentioned I have a military buddy that is so deep into video gaming that he's actually written 2 books on the subject.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, my good buddy Tristan. So Tristan is Tristan's actually out of country right now. He's still he does some work for America that takes him out of country.
He works for Uncle Sam.
Yep, he works for America, and I actually shot him a message because he said, I asked the master, I said, what is the best fishing video game ever related? And if I have that particular console, I will get that game.
Yeah.
And he let me know that for the PlayStation 1, a 20-plus-year-old system, the game Fisherman's Bait has never been topped. And this happens sometimes, like a game will come out at a perfect time, like the N64. Everyone has a laugh at the N64 because it was so rudimentary and the graphics were blocky. But there's never been pro wrestling games that have topped that.
Yeah.
Never. Those games are still
they sort of set the bar.
Yeah. No Mercy, WrestleMania, those
Yep.
games came out and they are still that high. So I now have a copy of Fisherman's Bait, and I'm going to give that a roll because apparently it's the best fishing game ever made. So we'll give that a roll. There's something else I can review.
Does Tristan fish?
No. That's why this is important.
That's why I'm curious. Yeah.
Because now we're talking about someone who has no or very little fishing experience.
Yeah.
And is just worried about gameplay, graphics, how fun a game is.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes. This should be pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yep, and that was my Christmas. I got some other shit too, but that was my Christmas related gifts. How'd you make out?
I got a couple of really cool gifts. I got a couple of these. My wife and I, we only exchange stocking stuffers. So we're grown ass adults. Like, just if there's something that you want, just buy it. Like, don't wait until the end of the year and have to remember all of these things. If something you want, just go ahead and buy it. And I had picked up, there was some truck stuff that I had wanted to pick up to make sure that I have like a jump pack for my truck that I had picked up, some stuff like that here and there. But my wife knocks it out of the park when it comes to stocking stuffers on a routine basis. She got me some. She got me something that's going to save a birch tree or two. Is how we're gonna put out we're gonna lay down the foundation with this. It's gonna save a couple of birch trees here. She got me some personal hygienic wipes that are the type that I like, that are individually wrapped, so I can take a couple of them and pop them in my bag, and I don't have to have like a whole pack of stuff, and then like the last half of that dries out because it's been in my tackle bag the whole time or anything like that. I like them when they're individually wrapped, hang everything out, take care of business, take your trash out with you. It's nice. It's a good thing. She got me some of those, and then she also got me this knit cap that has an LED headlamp sewn into it, and it's got a USB charger. So it's got a battery built in, no like bulky batteries or changing anything out. Basically there's a rubber trim that goes around the outside. I pull that out of the way. I can plug it in, charge the hat in the truck, good to go. So it's pretty cool. Also, what's cool about it is it's got like this safety, almost like if I could put it on backwards if I wanted to, put my headlamp so I could use the white light in front of me, but then have red and blue flashing behind me as like a safety thing if I have to change a tire or something like that, or just cool shit like that. What else did she get me? I got a lot of beard stuff. My sister hooked me up with a nice little beard grooming kit, which is pretty nice. Nice wooden comb, probably the nicest boar brush I've ever used, and some other products that were pretty cool. And I mean, it was a pretty quiet sort of thing for me as far as like fishing related stuff. Not a whole lot. I did get some stuff in the way of the like EDC and like some of the camping gear like that. I picked up, I have a Maxpedition bag. It's ironically enough, it's the Maxpedition Beefy Pocket Organizer. Guess why this one was chosen? Because it's beefy. And this is so that I can put together a little bit of a kit that's got some tools, some items that I would carry on me, but when I don't want to weigh my pockets down. So I put all this stuff in there. There's a brand new Samurai Tactical black backpack, like a traditional backpack, a pretty large one actually. And this is going to be cool for all types of travel. I keep this one now in the truck, and this is where I'm putting some of this stuff, and I'm sort of using this as a place to put like items for content creation. So, the tripods and mounts for my GoPro, all my remote battery chargers and things like this get stored in there, all kinds of stuff. So just cool ways to stay organized and things like this. Sean, you getting that tent makes me think of something. What was it? It was Christmas Eve, after Santa had trimmed the tree and everything was looking right, and I was hanging out with the dogs. I was watching some videos. I'm getting really amped on this whole truck camping adventure, like for when we get into spring. And I gotta give a shout out to good friends of the show, Todd Grubb, Fishing with Grubbs, and Becca, Fishing with Becca. They've been doing some car camping in the winter, and hey, man, awesome. In fact, Sean, I don't know. I don't think you've been tied to YouTube so much, but did you hear about the news with Becca?
No, what happened?
Chevrolet contacted Becca and gave her a brand new Silverado to tool around with for I think a week or two, actually, and just give like some feedback on it and create some content using it. This truck is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the first day she had it, she's like, let's go truck camping. She just, because the back seat's huge. She's like, I'm just going to sleep in the cab. I'm not going to worry about anything else, And she's doing all of her cooking and stuff out of the back. I'm like, that is freaking awesome. So I've been seeing all this content, and I'm like, I would love to just go and jump and do this, but I want to do it when I don't have to be focused on sleeping in the cold. So
I was going to say survival.
Yeah, more or less my focus is like, let's as we're learning how all this shit works, I'm taking the approach of, let's wait till we get till at least April, and then we'll start kind of working into it. Like basically I'm using my kayak schedule, like that sort of routine. Like when I would start taking the kayak out, that's when I want to, kind of get moving on some of this stuff. But, I have been doing a lot of research on things that you should make sure to have on you for these types of outings, and then things that you can do without, which I think is very helpful. So we will have some just the tip stuff there, where I'm going to be reviewing like different items and systems that you can break down and make doing this, especially if you're going to do it here and there a little bit more routinely, a little bit easier. And then I managed to get some fishing done this week.
Yeah, we should change your name to Bobby the Fisherman. I'll stay at Sean the Pierogi Man. That's good for me.
I didn't catch a damn thing, but I had an amazing outing. I had two. One of these I hadn't told you about. It happened just today. And the other I did tell you about. I gave you a little bit of a heads up. So Friday, actually, let me back up a little bit. Thursday evening, my oldest daughter sends me a text while I'm at work. And she says, hey, my sister had reached out to her and asked her about babysitting Friday morning. And she says, can you get me over there? She says she needs me to babysit at 7:30 to 11:30, I think. I said, sure, I can do that. And I'm like, well, 7:30 to 11:30. I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense to drive back home to sit around for a couple of hours and then head back out. So I tried out some new fishing gear. I had picked up some gloves. I think we mentioned this on a show. I picked up some gloves that have fingerless gloves that have a fold over like mitten cover that goes over. These are great. I love them. Tried out a couple other things for the cold. Really, really good stuff. I went out and I hit the Swift River, and I wanted to just kind of like experiment a little bit and bank fish. So I brought a couple of rigs with me and my sling pack, and I hit the trail and started walking around looking for spots. Couldn't get a bite anywhere. It was 27 degrees. It was really, really cold, and I tried 2 or 3 different spots, and then I moved up to the last spot that I ended up fishing, which is over by the boat launch, where I will often go and fish when I've got my youngest daughter with me, because she loves wading in the real cold water, and out there it's like just this nice like wide pool. So I'll fish. She'll kind of wade around the edges with me as I'm wading. We're going down the river. It's a good time. Well, I go over there and it's so cold. I mean, it is so cold. Like, guides are icing up like crazy. It's like there's all the typical snafus that you could deal with. Well, let me paint the picture. Here I am. I'm at the boat launch. I'm on this one little point, and I'm standing there, and I can hear all this noise behind me. And when I pulled in, there was one other car that was in the parking lot. I didn't even notice another car pull in. And there was another vehicle that was parked next to me. It was another small SUV. And, I'm just doing my thing, and I hear just a bunch of racket from behind me. So I decide to call it a day. I'm looking at at the time, and I'm over there, and I see that Well, it's time to start heading out. So I head over back to my truck and I see this car here and I see that there's a kayak on the ground. And the thing that I noticed that was interesting about this kayak was, and I don't know, Sean, if you've ever seen one of these, but it was one of those folding kayaks. I've never seen one in person. It almost looks like it's like corrugated plastic with like bungees to add tension to keep the shape. But what was crazy was I was just, and I was, like I said, it was 27 degrees. I was freezing my nuts off. It was unbelievably cold. I was not exactly loving life. Plus, like dealing with, frozen line management and things like that, ice on guides. I was kind of like, man, this is like, maybe I just gotta, wait till we get hard water and, safe ice and go and do some ice fishing and just, that's going to be how I'm going to scratch the itch. Cause I don't know if this is working in this kind of temperatures. So I come walking over and I see this guy and his head pops out from the opposite side of the truck. And he says, hey, he's like, how you doing, man? You have any luck? We have this back and forth like fishermen do. And when you cross paths, no, not having any luck, man. It's too cold. But I said, I got some time to kill and it didn't make any sense for me to go all the way back home. So I figured I would wet a line, see what we could put together, if anything. And he's like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you drag my kayak down to the launch for me, down the ramp? And I'm like, all right, I suppose. I'm not thinking anything of it. Now I go over and I see that this gentleman is in a wheelchair. This is why I heard so much noise going around, because he was putting the kayak together, folding it, getting the gear out and everything else like that. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, you get in here and you're fishing? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm going out to throw a few flies around. He's like, I'm going to see what I can catch. And he was telling me he goes out there and like basically almost all year round and will fish for pike and muskie on the fly. And I was just so inspired by that. I was like, holy shit, dude. So I gave him some stickers, I had a little conversation with him, I told him to be safe and all that stuff. And of course I dragged the boat down to the ramp for him and everything. And I mean, it's like you talk about, and that was one of the things we had talked about was accessibility for different ramps. Because, when he mentioned that he likes to fish for big pike, I told him, I was like, the Connecticut River is a great spot. Like they're chock full, I mean, like you can get on some good pike in the Connecticut. If you're looking for some good pike,
the rest of us will get on the good pike.
I could. So I told him, I was like, the Connecticut River is a great spot. He's like, yeah, there's a couple of spots that I go there. He's like, some of those launches though are pretty sketchy. He's like, and they're just not really accessible. And I was like, totally understand that. I made a couple of suggestions of ones that I thought might be decent for him. He's like, yeah, I'll check it out. So I took off and left, went about my day and everything, but very, very, very cool. So to the guy over the Swift River, man, you inspired me, dude. Thank you. That is awesome. Now, the follow-up to that is I had woken up this morning, after the Christmas celebrations. I had woken up not super early. In fact, like my schedule, no matter what, Christmas Day or otherwise, it's all about the dogs. Once Eleanor starts, barking her ass off at 6:02 a.m., it's only a matter of time before everybody's getting up. So I got up today and came down into the kitchen, brewed a cup of coffee, threw a shot of some really nice bougie Irish cream in there from Cork, Ireland, and we're enjoying my spiked coffee, hanging out with the wife and the dogs. And the girls are playing with their stuff and, checking things out, and they're having a good time. My wife dives into Elder Scrolls, Skyrim.
Yep.
And I know that this is going to be hours she's going to be in this game. And I'm like, you know what? I said, would you kill me if I just went down to the river and fished for a few hours? She's like, go for it. Have a good time. I was like, all right, awesome. So I get dressed, put on some layers, because today was actually pretty nice. It was in the low 40s. It was about 42, 43 where I was. It was windy, which kind of sucked. That made it pretty chilly. But I got back in and, I had no luck where I was. I was fishing over in the Connecticut River, and water levels were much lower than they were the last few times I was there. It's crazy low, actually. And I just couldn't get a bite over there at all. Then I went over, and this is awesome, Sean. I think you're going to like this. So I go over to the Hoyle Canals, like the last ditch effort. When I want to get a line wet, I can throw in there. It's easy. There's no bullshit. It's a terrible place to fish. The odds of hooking up are not in your favor. I go over and I start fishing. And I'm fishing from this bridge that goes across the canal. So I have full access on both sides of this area and both sides of the bridge. And there's this couple, husband and wife. They're walking across the one of the sides of the street on either side of this bridge. They come over on the sidewalk to cross over the bridge, and I get what I know is coming. You catching anything here? And I'm like, not today. I'm like, but there's fish in here. They're like, really? There's fish in here? And I was like, well, this is connected to the river, so as long as the water levels are high enough there, the fish can get in. I said, when they drain it, you never know what you're going to get because they can also get out. Then they empty it and you're starting from it's a blank canvas. Who knows? So I'm like, it's always an adventure. Tonight kind of sucks. And I was throwing a crank and I was throwing it on a bait caster. And I go, and I was, I'm having this conversation. I've fished a little bit. So like when I'm talking to people and I'm fishing, I don't stop, it's just like one of those things you just kind of, without even thinking, you're just casting, especially if you're like a moving bait or something like that, chuck and wind. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm throwing this little crank around and I'm throwing it along. And this woman goes, that's a really good cast. I said, wow, thank you. And then she looks over at her husband. She says, how come you don't do cool shit like that? And I told her, I think that my wife and you have polar opposite ideas of what cool shit is because I don't get this kind of praise for that kind of bullshit at all, no matter how lucky I get with whatever cast or anything like that. And he just gave me this look like, she's something.
Now, what we should keep in mind in this story is that you didn't even have to tell them that you've got state pins in both fall fish and masturbating homeless people.
It's true.
From that canal.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah. I mean, come on, let's be honest. They had no idea who they were talking to. When it comes, they were talking to the Bill Dance of fall fish. You know what I'm saying?
And the Roland Martin.
And the Roland Martin.
Homeless people.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Holy
Fucking
shit.
hell.
Well, I actually had a fishing conversation with one of my cousins that, I haven't honestly really sat down and talked with him in years just because of life. He's got kids. I've got kids. And, sometimes at parties, we just haven't had a chance to bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the funny thing. So I mentioned my great aunt and great uncle that, we've talked about them. My great aunt passed this year. Well, their names came up again this year at Christmas because my wife and I have a giant bottle of Absolute vodka that they brought as a housewarming gift to our old house that we bought in like 2008. All right.
Oh, all right.
I don't drink, so that thing is a party favor for whoever comes over.
Yeah.
And it's been slowly getting whittled down over the past 14 years, right?
That's
13
awesome.
years, whatever. And he tucked into that, and we were bullshitting, and he's a golfer. And I had said to him, he was asking me questions about fishing, like what's going on, how you doing this and the other thing, like what level are you participating in tournaments, etc. And then he asked the question. He said, well, how many rods do you carry? And I said, I'll answer that. But there's a caveat. I said, fishermen get asked that all the time. Most people are just like, why do you got so many extra rods?
Yeah.
Why do you got this? And I said, I carry 5. And I said, I'm going to put it to you this way. And he looked at me and I go, driver, 2 iron, 7 iron, sand wedge, putter. And he goes, that makes sense.
Got it.
If everybody was explained competitive fishing and how to use different tools like that, we wouldn't get asked that on the water. But he got it right off the bat. He's like, I understand.
Yep.
And then I showed him too. I brought out, my frog rod, which is a fucking pool cue lined with braid. And I brought out my rod I use for Ned rigs, which is, 8 by 8. Oh, I think I have 10 pound. I have 8 or 10 pound fluoro on there. Yep. It's a spinning combo. And I said, this is this, that's that. This is what this is for. It's all about weight.
Yeah.
What you're throwing.
I do the same thing when I tell people, I go, there's a spectrum. I said, we start here, we go to here, and they do different. They're 4 different things. And I try to explain, like, I try to make each one as versatile as it can be, but there's sometimes where you can't do that,
Yep.
Like my 610 rod is a jerkbait rod. Like that is what it's for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you. So he got it right off the bat.
That's
so
awesome.
I talked a lot with yesterday. We host Christmas, so it was nice to see. We didn't have like the normal blowout party. We do a large portion of my family is still, playing it safe with COVID and doing their thing. And we saw I don't know, about a quarter of my family on my dad's side. It was all good.
Yeah.
We had a good time. We ate a bunch of food. The food was good. Played some different cards. Hey, have you seen this Saran Wrap game? I'm sure you
played
have.
it. We played it Friday night.
Okay, so for those uninitiated, I had never seen the Saran Wrap game, and what you do is, some unlucky soul or ambitious soul goes ahead and takes a bunch of items, whether they're small, like little alcohol bottles, nips as we call them, and not using that as a slur.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
actually what they've been known. I don't know them as any other term.
I bought half a dozen nips for my great aunt as a Christmas gift. Yeah.
Welcome
to New England.
I know. Scratch tickets. What else? I mean, what else was in there? There was all sorts of candies. So one of my cousins, who's a little older than me, did all the wrapping, and she brought it over knowing that kids might be involved and other stuff. She's like, I was going to take it in a completely different adult direction, but kids might get involved in this. And what you do is there's one person has the item, and their time allotted to get as much Saran Wrap, which is fucking layered. So this one she brought over was the size of a 5-pound ham, right? Just of styrofoam, just of Saran Wrap and all sorts of little prizes, right? And the person who's ahead of them has a pair of dice, and they roll until they get a pair. When they get a pair, the dice go to the next person in line. That person gets the Saran Wrapped honey ham and just starts going to town, and they can unwrap until that next person rolls. This again, they said they did one the size of a basketball last week at somebody's house. This one the size of a ham took them an hour and 15 minutes. I was actually sitting down, kind of taking it easy and having a coffee because I was cooking and running around. I said, I'm out. You guys have fun. I'm going to sit down and bullshit with somebody else who I haven't talked to in a while. And it was crazy. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I've never seen that before. Yeah. When she had said, hey, let's do the Saran Wrap game, I'm like, all right. And I sent a group text out saying, apparently we're playing with Saran Wrap this year. So-and-so's in charge. I have no idea what's going on. And I've just made her the games master of Christmas now. So she's all over it.
It's a good way to do it. I've done this before at corporate events. People want to do so, and I usually tell them, I'm like, oh yeah, get your new hires together, or get your biggest performers, get management together to do this, and come up with ideas, and I'll give people ideas of things that they can throw in there. So when we did this on Friday, what we had done was we took a Ziploc bag, and we put a $20 bill in it. And that was the middle prize. That was at the very end, the core, right? We wrapped that all up, and then we just did a bunch of candy, like Kit Kat bars and Snickers and like you name it, all kinds of stuff. There was even a couple Good and Plenty's there as like a zonk, because that's hot garbage. And and that's what we did. But now, did you guys see the way I've always done this, and like with corporate events, is you're supposed to be wearing oven mitts while you do this.
So they didn't, but that was on the table.
Yeah,
they had some of the kids that were involved from my family were. I mean, there was some younger than 6. I mean, so they just said. But what they did was, if you rolled double sixes, you could tear. So you didn't have to just slowly unwrap. You could rip the shit out of it. But nobody used. If they used oven mitts, it would have taken 3 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's when I've done corporate events. That's what you do. You have them use oven mitts. And
my cousin wrapped that shit
tight, right?
She wrapped that shit tight.
Yeah.
So
they
did a good job at it.
it was a lot of fun. My niece, she's 7 now. I mean, she had a good time with it. And my oldest, she's 17. She had a blast. She got the 20. She was so excited. She's like, yeah, woo! I'm like, good for you, kiddo. So yeah, I mean, we had a good time. Like, holiday games are always interesting. Everybody in our family got some type of a board game. My oldest got some type of, I think it's called What Does It Meme? Something like that. It's a meme-based game. I picked one. I have a game. I forget the name of it. It sounds pretty interesting. It sounds kind of like it's along the lines of like a Cards Against Humanity type thing. I think it's like more of an adult game, but it should be pretty fun. But Christmas was awesome. We had a good time. It's all good. It's all freaking good.
Did anyone get a copy of Throw Burrito?
No. You know what, dude? I had it in my hands. In my hands. And, well, the problem was I didn't know what the guest list, how many people were going to be there. I'm like, I don't know what we're actually going to end up doing, because there's this other game that my mom loves to play, this dice game. I think it's called LCR, Left, Right, Center. and it's got to do with like chips, and it's a betting game. It's super fun. I've only played it like 2 or 3 times. My kids love it because they're like, anytime they see that they have the potential to win money, they're just like, oh, this is super cool. This is, they're like they can definitely put some value with it. They're like, oh, this is a whole lot of fun. And, oh, I made $5. That's great. They get a kick out of it. And when they lose, they're like, oh, it's no big deal. It's mom and dad's money. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, we did get a small game of Screw Your Neighbor in late night last night, and I won the $5. Thank you very much.
Sweet. Oh, hold on. You earned it. So while we're actually, you know what? This is perfect. While we're talking about games, we're talking about winning. Let's talk giveaways. Let's talk giveaways. Okay, so good friend of the show, Lockwood Fishing, aka Cody Van Zandt, has organized. He hit me up early, right before Christmas Eve, and he said he was putting together a Christmas time giveaway, and he wanted to launch it. Now he launched it. It was only a few hours ago, on the 26th, and we're recording this on 12/26. He launched it then, and this is one of the biggest giveaways I've ever heard about ever. So Cody had reached out to me, and he said, I kind of want to have you guys announce it on the show. The giveaway, obviously, but also announce the results. So the winner will be announced on our show that is dropping on January the 4th. Of course, Cody's also going to have the results on his Instagram that day as well, but we'll have those results and everything all taken care of, and it'll be ready to be announced on that podcast. But listen to the prizes that he has going on. So Lockwood's post basically says Christmas giveaway time, and it's a good one, and he's not exaggerating. First off, he's got Bait Ops Co. is donating some jigs. Wisco Bait Co. is donating some jigs. Beast Coast Fishing is throwing in some of their Hustler hybrid jigs, which are unbelievably popular. Stretching Lines Anglers Gear is throwing in some jigs and some soft plastics. Flirt Skirt Fishing is doing a $50 gift card, which is pretty awesome. I know some big listeners and friends of the show love Flirt Skirt Fishing stuff. Namely, one Wild Bill loves Flirt Skirt. Old Glory Outdoors USA is doing a mystery bag of baits. If you have any familiarity with Old Glory Outdoors US, that means that is going to be one hell of a prize all on its own. Addiction Baits is giving some splatter baits. What is it? Epic Eric Base Lab is putting a custom crank, a hat, and a t-shirt and stickers together. Hooks at Hoodlums are putting in some swag and apparel. Cast Crew's throwing in some swag and apparel. Liquid Coastal swag and apparel as well. Dust Off Fishing is throwing in some apparel. Gravy Fishing's throwing in some swag. Delirious Angler throwing in some swag. Jigs and Bigs, yes, we're throwing in some swag as well. I believe a couple of stickers, maybe even a little surprise prize. Who knows? We've got Bass and Brews Podcast is throwing in some swag. That's courtesy of Paul Roberts and Swamp Rat Fishing. System G Design. System G Design is putting in a Beck sling bag with a small jig case and pliers holder. If you're not familiar with this System G stuff, check out. Well, in order to enter, you got to check out Lockwood Fishing anyway. But check it out. This is the bag system that he utilizes, and he raves about it. Doomsday Tackle's giving a 7'3" heavy fast J-Dam casting rod. That's like a $200 rod.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet rod. Katie Lynn Custom Rods is giving a $100 gift certificate towards a custom rod build. That is huge. And also, you have a one-night lodging and dinner and breakfast with a full day of trophy bass fishing with shoreside gourmet lunch with the one and only Lockwood Fishing Adventures. It's a good prize. It's a real good prize.
With that last part, is it bring your own party favors? All applicable state laws apply.
Well, I mean, keep in mind this is private property, so like, I think this is a Lockwood. A Lockwood experience. This goes beyond the level of, I think, guided fishing outing. This is like an experience. I would recommend getting some bear mace. I'm not saying that you need to be concerned about wildlife in the area, but it gets kind of crazy. But go. So anyway, the instructions are this: you got to go over to Lockwood, and you can't miss this. He's got a video, and it just says Christmas giveaway on the front. He tells you some of the instructions over there. His adorable face is right there. Instructions are like this: you got to like the post, you got to follow all of the parties that are listed above. So you got to go to all those individual accounts and follow them. You have to like and tag, I already said that. You have to like the post. Then you have to tag a person in the comments. Basically, one tag is one entry. You can enter as many times as you want. He's keeping it nice and clean and simple. The winner will be announced on Jigs and Bigs on the 4th. It will also be announced on Instagram afterwards. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This is, he's already got like 43 entries on here. No, more than that. There's so many comments. Oh my God. So I highly recommend you guys go ahead and jump into this and check it out. So Lockwood Fishing, that's LACHWOODFISHING on Instagram. Check out Lockwood. Cody puts together some great stuff, and he is one hell of a character. I highly recommend you guys check out this giveaway.
Yeah, check it out. And I'm so a little surprised that there are no Lockwood brand phalluses being put up. It's a signature item.
You heard about what ultimately happened. It was on the trailer, and he was leaving it on there as like a trophy, if you will, like a serial killer would hold the teeth of their victims, like that.
Or ears.
Yes, exactly. So he was holding that as a trophy, and I guess somebody who was at a launch had complained to local authorities about how it was inappropriate and such. I mean, they're not wrong. Like, let's be honest, they're not wrong. But at the same time, it's like, come on. So they made him cut it off, and I don't know, what happened with it. I don't know if he
cut it off.
Yeah, he had to cut it off.
He circumcised his trailer.
He more than circumcised. That trailer's a eunuch.
Oh my God.
That trailer is a eunuch.
Not going to be too much fun at the Dothraki wedding, that one.
No, it's not. No, it is not. So, that makes me wonder how it ever got to India, but apparently it did. I'm guessing he dropped into the water system, hit the ocean, and kind of went east, is what I'm thinking.
It was a floater.
It was a floater. Yes, indeed, it was. It was. So, interesting stuff. Also, before we go any further, let's go ahead and give a little happy birthday shout out to our boy, Derek Artioli. Derek is 17 years old. Congratulations, Derek. Oh, super
You're away from scratch tickets and cigarettes.
Almost.
Oh, wait, yeah. Cigarettes are 21 now, right?
Yeah, I think, and actually, I have scratch tickets. And has that changed? Can you now not buy lottery at 18? So I had a conversation over the weekend with somebody, and they were like, "Yeah," they're like, "Oh, I've got a few more years." It was my daughter. She's like, "I have a few more years." I'm like, "Kiddo, I'm pretty sure you can buy scratch tickets at 18." I'm pretty sure.
No idea.
I don't know. I should look into it. It's let's be honest. It's been quite some time since anybody's asked for my ID in a long time. Yeah. It's just not needed. Now, if they want to see it, they're like, it's due to, are you entitled to some kind of a discount? Yeah. Can we save you 5%, Grandpa?
Been there.
So, good stuff. Let's jump into this, though. So this is the year in review. We're talking about this, right? We've covered our weeks. We've covered all that. We've covered the holiday, the feelings, what we're left with afterwards, the bloat, if you will.
Yeah. We've
covered all of that, but this is the year in review. We're talking about 2021 as a year for Jigs and Bigs. And I mentioned this earlier on. This is the first year where we have had like an entire 12-month period to look on for content. Like, this is, it's a big one. It's a big one. A full year, 12 whole months, 52 weeks. It's so many episodes and so much has happened. So I wanted to throw a survey together to get a random sampling of folks, and I threw this on Instagram, I threw it on Facebook to get some folks to go ahead and take this little survey and talk about their favorite elements of the show. What is it about the show that they love? Is there freaking anything that you guys love? So this is what we had come up with, and I sent this over to Sean before I went live with it. Well, the first question I had asked was, I put together a list of the guests from our most listened to episodes. So these are the episodes that have had the most downloads, the most streams, the most everything across all platforms that we're on. The ones that have the most listens, and those, and I listed them by the guest that appeared on them. So the most listened to we had the episode with Rachel Walker, we had Dust Off Fishing, Brandon Heinrichs, we had Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again, Brett and Ryan from that fine organization, whom you guys will see over at our 100th show recording happening on February the 5th. They were on this list too. Their episode was one of the most listened to ones. We had OG Hookset Hoodlums pro staffer Joel Melendez, Brutus17 on Instagram. He rated up on there, and then Nate Shagnon. That episode that was that April? Oh, I think that was in April.
April or May, whenever we went down to, where the hell was it?
Pickwick.
Pickwick.
It was Pickwick.
It was April or May, dude.
It was April or May, but it was all the way back then. That was another. So those are like the top 5 guests from our most listened to episodes, and this is the general breakdown here. We had a tie. Well, actually, no. So we had one of these guests that nobody voted for. Nobody voted for Joel. And you guys are pieces of shit. Nobody, not a single vote. Then we had a tie at the next spot up. Brett and Brian from Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again. They tied with Rachel Walker. Each of them getting 8% of the vote. We had, the next one was Dust Off. 17% of the vote went to Dust Off. And then the winner at 67% was Nate Shagnon. Who you guys are going to hear later on in the show. So, you guys obviously love him. He's coming up. So we got that going. The next question I had asked, and this was a text response. It was, what was your favorite hot topic first segment? And we had one, and this is just a sample of some of them that came in because not everybody filled this out completely. We had the tournament recaps. This person also suggested, I'd like to see more coverage on EKF, MAKB, and possibly other local trails in the Northeast like MYA. I've got to look into that. I'm not even sure exactly what that is. Maniac Anglers. That's what that is. Trails in the Northeast. I thought he meant Massachusetts. And then, this one was the one that caught my eye too, is Your Birthday at Champlain sounded dope. That was hands down one of my favorite episodes of the year. The Disembodied Goose. I'm surprised I got on there. But then again, I also find, even though it was like disturbed, frightening as shit, like that was like so genuine. You were so unraveled over experiencing that. So I mean, I kind of feel like, if nothing else, that was like real journalism. And then somebody else put not sure, which is pretty good.
When did we record that?
Well, it's like this. I always say, when I'm DJing at a party and I don't get a single request, I assume I'm doing a great job, because people love nothing more than to tell you what to do when you're not hitting the mark. So I'm looking at it with those rose-colored glasses. Next up, we had what was your favorite Just the Tip segment? One person straight up just said all of them, which we appreciate. That is awesome. All of them. I love this one. Somebody had posted, had left a note. They said the overall keep it simple theme, keep it simple, stupid, using wind direction to try and find a bite. I'm like, that's so cool. And then somebody else wrote, I appreciate Sean's breakdowns of specific bodies of water, weed lines, ponds, rivers. And I'm assuming that when they talk about that, they're also talking about the drawing for the plan of attack when we were up in Champlain. I'm guessing that probably came into play too. The penis drawing.
Gotta watch out for that penis.
We got a lot of these for FTG because FTG is one of our most popular segments. We got the washing the car at the boat ramp. That was one for a favorite FTG segment that came up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different people that mentioned Old Glory Outdoors' very own Joe Brown. I know some of you are thinking, who the fuck is Joe Brown? And Wild Bill, when we had that double call. So there was that. We had the bread with the trouble hooks in the duck. The bread with the trouble hooks still haunts me to this day, somebody put. Lake lice in general. Lake lice, they're not going away. There isn't a week that goes by that I don't get somebody, jighead or listener or somebody sends me something with that crazy souped up jet ski for like 4. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Still, people are like, oh, they're still at it. I'm like, this sons of bitches.
The Louse Mobile.
This was a good one. And I actually, this one had slipped my mind. I'm glad this one came up because this was really good. It was the Scuba Steve with the YouTubers. Remember, they were reattaching a fish and throwing it back in with a lure in its mouth so that it could look like, oh, we caught it on this too. We caught one on this too. Amazing. So FTG, clearly a very, very popular segment. Favorite interview guest. We had that guy that knew a lot. Somebody left a comment there. That guy that knew a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's Jeff Little. Jeff knew a lot.
Yeah.
Jeff knew a lot. Chris Pendergast was a favorite. I can't remember his name, but he talked about seeing a butterfly before a tournament. That was none other than Nate Shagnon.
Nate.
Yep, he saw a butterfly.
Dude.
He was chasing it around at the ramp. He was like, oh, butterfly, dude, look at that. I think he was singing Life's Been Good while he was chasing around the butterfly.
Definitely was.
I think he was. And then, where was I? Oh, look at that. Yep, another person said Shags. Then Hookset Hoodlums. When we had the OG, the 3 Hookset Hoodlums, it was like having like all the bosses of all the crime families of New York together on one show. You know, it was intense. That was a really good episode too. And then Lockwood Fishing was another favorite. That was an amazing time in the show in that spring because we had Shags, we had Lockwood, like we had also done those live streams where like Lockwood was like, I mean, the man made such an impression and he barely had to say anything because his internet was crazy. You remember that, right?
All I remember was him being loud and ripping ports.
Oh, it was so good. And let's see. So that was interview guest. This one was really good too. We asked what was your favorite brand or company spokesperson that was featured in 2021. We got a lot of these, a whole lot of these. We had 1, 2, 3 for Three Bells Outfitters. We had one for Naqua. Naqua getting a little bit of love. We got some info for you guys with Naqua in just a bit. We have Jig Masters. Yeah, remember we had Jig Masters on? That was a really good interview with Cody. That was great. And then we have 1, 2, 3 for Hookset Hoodlums. And this one was interesting. Giant Black Dildo Manufacturer.
Cody.
That interview escapes me, but I'm going to go ahead and say that's Cody. That was Lockwood. I'm going to own that bitch. And then for the last question, I had asked this because I really wasn't sure how to go and approach this. So one of the things about our show that we try to do is we try to take, and obviously we try to base everything we do, the conversations, we direct them toward fishing, toward anglers, toward the outdoors, in any way that we can kind of, we try to make that the common point, the direction of the show. But we try to entertain you guys more than anything else. Like we really try to be entertaining about everything that we're doing. So we had asked, what is your favorite comedic moment of the past year? And we had split this up into a handful of different answers, and I let people enter an other if it wasn't listed on there. So I had listed the Howie Calls an interview. I had listed Zany Morning Radio Guy. I had listed Old Glory Outdoors versus Wild Bill on FTG. I had listed Boats and Scroats and the Road Dildo, that entire endeavor there. I had I put who the fuck is Joe Brown? And then I put other. So this was the general breakdown. The only one that got no votes was Zany Morning Radio Guy.
All right, well, maybe he needs to go by the way of the dinosaur.
Maybe, or maybe it's a renaissance that will finally make him resonate with listeners, you know?
Or maybe I'm not going down without a fight, you sons of bitches.
Hit me with a fuck you Baltimore as Zany Radio guy.
Hey, Baltimore! Fuck you!
Perfect. I don't know why we have such an issue with Baltimore, but
I look at. We laugh at it.
We do.
Fucking, this is our show, right?
It's true.
It's your show.
It's
but
true.
You invite me on. And you laugh.
It's very true. So
I'm here for you.
we had a tie at 8% each with Howie, the Howie interviews and calls, and Who the Fuck is Joe Brown.
That's a catchphrase.
Actually, it was a three-way tie, now that I think about it. It was the live YouTube banter, was during the live stream. That got voted as one of the most comedic moments. But that was that was hours we were on there. That was crazy.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And then we had, so that was a three-way tie between those three elements there. The next one was Boats and Scroats got a quarter of the audience. Boats and Scroats and the Road Dildo just in total got a quarter of it, which is awesome. Which means that over 50% of the voters for this question voted for Old Glory Outdoors Joe versus Wild Bill in the FTG. Like, that shit resonated with people. It really did.
It was good. It was phenomenal. It was out of left field. We didn't know it was coming, and it was great.
It was one of those things that just fell right in our lap. Like, it fell right into our lap. So what we're going to be doing here, guys, as far as year in review, our next segment, we're going to break down by segment some of our favorite elements that we had put together that we think were just absolute gold. And we've got little clips of each one, and we're going to set them up for you guys to check out. So that's coming up in the next segment. We've got some Just the Tip stuff. We've got some Old Glory stuff. And then in our third segment, we do have a clip from one of our best interviews, like one of them that just really kind of hit with us. And spoiler alert, it did align with the number one voted on interview. So we got Nate coming up after this. We've got a little snippet there. That was such a great interview. It was unbelievable. Like, just truly, like, just a raw story. We'll talk more about that when we get there, but unbelievably good stuff. As far as this segment here, I mean, I think we kind of hit most everything, but there is some big shit that we do need to talk about here. Is first and foremost, our Instagram giveaway. Instagram giveaways are happening. We've gone over this the last, a few months, really. Each of our Instagram accounts, both the one for the show at Jigs and Bigs, the Bobby Roast Beef account, and the Sean the Fisherman account, we're watching those follower numbers. When they cross a threshold, every time we do 1,000, we have a giveaway. And then every time they cross a 5,000 threshold, we're doing a big giveaway. So there's some incentive here. Now, what's cool about this is as these giveaways have been happening, these accounts have been bumping up a little bit here and there. Just naturally going with the flow of growth from everything. Sean's account is at a 915. So we've got not many to go before we have another giveaway that's going to fire in the Jigs and Bigs fam. So that's amazing. So if you're not following Sean the Fisherman, go follow him now. And then he's got a giveaway coming. You're going to love it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We, of course, want to give you guys a huge mention, a reminder that while the fishing report has been kind of slow as of now, these cold temps locally have been really setting in, and the ice is here to stay. And locally, we're going to have safe ice, fingers crossed, within the coming weeks.
As we record this, I believe Nate and his two closest fishing friends, John Connon and John Ferreira, are in Maine.
They're in Maine,
going through the ice right now. I guess that sounds horrible. They're fishing through the ice, not going through the ice. Sorry.
One thing I should mention, I did happen to catch on the gram. Nate had caught a 15-inch crappie.
Holy shit!
Yeah, you better not say
fucking crappie.
That's a big ass crappie. That's a big ass crappie right there. That would have been great in the Chronic Trips tournament, actually.
Which, speaking of, let me step in here for a
little
second.
segue there.
I'm holding back. I'm a little upset from the last segment. Let me pause here. I'm a little upset.
Go ahead.
Now I'm just holding back the urge to do Zany Radio Guy every chance I get.
I know. I knew it was going to hurt. I knew it. I was like, shit.
I am butthurt. I have put a lot of effort into that guy. Thought he was funny.
He is funny. Not was. He is funny.
He's funny for me and you. I thought he had broader appeal. I guess I'm just wrong. Anyways, Chronic Trips, the January, February 60-day winter tournament is up for registration.
Yes.
Go on Fishing Chaos, search Chronic Trips, search Chronic. Get on there. It's north and south. You can catch fish, open water, from the shore, from a boat, from the ice. We don't care. We want you out there, whatever conditions they are, catching some fish.
At Whole Foods?
Go for it. Yeah, Whole Foods too.
Cool. I'm in.
They got a pond there?
No, but they have a fish department.
Let's see. There you go.
There you go. Done. Throwing a jerkbait in there. I'm going to make it happen.
If you want to spend the money on a couple pounds of salmon and throw it on a ruler,
yeah,
that's your business.
Give me a whole snapper. Let's go. Chop, chop.
I'll deny it just like any other I would, but no. Jump in on that. So we're going to do however many entries there are. We're going to go top percentages based on the amount of entries, and then we're also going to do largest freshwater, largest saltwater. We're keeping it very simple for this tournament. We're not going to worry about the lengths, the one first to 100, first to 200, etc. Yeah. That's out the window. Just nice and simple.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. Biggest freshwater, biggest saltwater, and then top 3 by points. And our point system is staying the same as it was last year for now. More to come on that. Fishing Chaos is doing Fishing Chaos things for the open water tournaments that'll be starting in April. So stay tuned on that. For now, it's just as we've been doing. Get in on it. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, back to you, Bobby.
Back to you. Well, actually, no, Sean. This one here is back to you because we got some news regarding Naqua.
Well, back to me then.
We do. We have some news, and you've got all the details of that. So I'm going to open up my seasonal ale here while you tell our fine listeners about how they can save some coin, significant coin, with Naqua.
Significant coin. Yes. Well, as we have not made any secret of our love of Naqua products, and we reach out to them and have talked to them several times, and obviously we interviewed Billy and Heidi on the show.
They reach out to us too. It's more of like reaching around. Yeah. It's good.
Well, paint me red, slap my ankles. So we're tight with Naqua at this point. They're good to us. We're good to them. We love their stuff, and it's an organic love.
It is.
It's a love of no broken bones in my foot. That's where it originated. And Naqua reached out to us with a very nice surprise. As of now, go on Naqua. If you're looking for any Naqua items, with one exception, the exception being their 20 amp hour battery kit, all of their other items, everything except for that one item, using the code JIGSBIGS20, JIGSBIGS 20, you will get 20% off on all the items they sell except for that one 20 amp hour battery.
Wrong button.
What the fuck? Fail.
20% is huge, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's funny. Santa Claus brought my each member of my family at home a one of Naqua's power banks.
Yeah.
Each one.
They're awesome.
Now, if you as we recommend, like you've heard Bobby and I recommend it to everyone, whether you're doing a podcast and you want some power for your computer or power for a microphone or power for a USB device, whatever.
Yep. But you need to run your GoPro. This is the kind of thing that you need.
You need to charge your phone when you're going out for a high stakes tournament, which happened to me twice this year where my phone decided not to charge off my truck when I was driving out there. This item is so invaluable. We love them. It's their power bank. I think they run $40. Well, 20% off is pretty nice for that.
It really is. It's a good deal.
I did have, and I had a number of family members that I know would use this item, who are either hikers or are always outdoors. And I think that Naqua was going to be seeing quite a few of those just from my family alone, because I described what they do, and honestly, just described how it saved my ass in that knockout tournament a couple times, and
Yep.
I didn't have to do much of a sell job.
The other thing about that specific item is that the shape of it is so. It's so easy to be able to throw in just about any kind of pocket. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's small enough to be able to put in, and it doesn't have like corners that are going to stick out because it's round, you know, and it works unbelievably well. So, you know, if you're looking to power some electronics in your boat, like Nocwa's got you covered. If you want lighting accessories, Nocwa's got you covered. Check out Nocwa's website. You're 100% going to want to check this out. See what kind of products they have for you. If you can save 20% right off the top by ordering stuff from Nocwa, awesome. That's huge.
And if you're a hiker, and something happens where you need power for your electronics, for a phone to get a signal out or something, and you don't want to die, Nocwa's got you covered.
You know, I'll tell you, it's so funny. Like I've been binging a lot of content about, truck camping, about stealth camping, about EDC, about, all kinds of different like planning and systems and things like that. And those batteries are huge. They're so important that now you see them being included in lots of other random items. So you might have a flashlight that has, that you can charge. It's got a rechargeable, lithium battery that you can recharge and use that. You don't have to worry about alkaline batteries or replacing batteries or anything. You can charge it via USB, but they'll also put a port on there so that you can charge a device if you need to. Lanterns and all types of different products. But like when you have one that's dedicated for that's one of those things where redundancy is a great thing, because the more juice you can carry, the better. And I mean, we did that one time, like just to see if it would work to record when we were down at the Trifecta. We recorded off of we use a Zoom podcast mobile recorder, and it does run off of batteries. I could put 2 or 3 AA batteries in here and it'll work great, but instead I just ran it off USB and we were able to record for hours with no issues at all. It was really fantastic. So
yeah, we had mine as backup, never even touched it.
Yeah, we were like, oh yeah, man, we'll have it as backup. It's like it comes in really handy. So check out Nocwa. Thank you to those guys. We appreciate them. That's the right button.
That is the right button. And remember, Jigs Bigs 20 at checkout.
Yep, Jigs Bigs 20. We did mention that does not cover the 20 amp hour battery. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to say. That's all. Yeah. While we're on that subject, let's also talk about our 100th episode. Tickets are available right now at jigsandbigs.com. Go to jigsandbigs.com. You're going to see a little banner that's on our page for that 100th episode recording. That's on Saturday, February the 5th. It's over at Nathan Bill's in the East Forest Park section of Springfield. Nathan Bill's is a great establishment that I am lucky enough to work with on a regular basis. They have an awesome menu, unbelievable service, fantastic, but they have this great banquet facility that they're graciously allowing me to utilize. And actually, I'm even hosting trivia there on New Year's Eve. We're doing a little mini tournament there, the Big Fat Speed Quiz of the Year. So we're over there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, but we have some great stuff planned. At this, you are going to be getting some exclusive first crack at deals from some of our vendors that are available. You're going to have an opportunity to win some amazing prizes. We've got Klondike Custom Creations is going to be in the house. We've got Nocwa. They're going to be there. We've got Three Bells Outfitters, Old Glory Outdoors, Hookset Hoodlums. I mean, and the list is growing. I've been in touch with many more companies to either physically be there or be there in a virtual sense, which is in some of the cases how this is working out. So it'll be really fantastic. Get your tickets now. It's $10 for the ticket. The vast majority of that goes to help make Massachusetts fishing spots great again, because this show that we're doing, that live show, is also a fundraiser for them. So we're presenting them with a check with some funds that we had raised over the tournament season with them or for them, and it's going to be really cool. So very, very excited about that. And then I think the last thing that we sort of have to go over is our merchandise and our Spotify playlist. You guys know the Spotify playlist is available for you. We have all kinds of great stuff for you to listen to. Hopefully you guys dig it. We also have some merch on jigsandbigs.com. Logo shirts. We've got some performance wear, things like that. Why is performance wear thing a good thing now for you? Our performance gear makes a great base layer. If you're going out ice fishing, this is a great first layer to put down to contact with your skin because it dries quick, it wicks moisture. You'll have a better time out on the ice if you're using a synthetic material like our performance shirts, our hoodies, and our long sleeve stuff like that. Especially that long sleeve will come in very, very handy. And then, and you'll get to look good doing it. And then, in the summer, it does double duty for you because it's got sun protection. So there you go. There we are, just helping you guys, making your time on the water that much better.
That's us, Helpy Helpersons.
Yeah, the road is fucking long.
That's what she
the
said.
road is fucking rough.
That's also what she said.
We dealt with so much bullshit just to be here with you guys tonight. Just to let you know that we care about you guys when you're on the water. So go buy our shit. I think that about does it, dude, for this segment here. 915 followers.
I'm there.
Yeah. It's like you're on the edge. You're tap dancing on it. It's like that Thelma and Louise moment where you're like, are they going to drive off the cliff or won't they? No, they're going. They're fucking going. It's a matter of when.
Who tap dances on the edge, right?
Who tap dances on the edge? Tell me.
Fucking I do, buddy. Every goddamn day I wake up and come to this shit old job.
Tap dances on the edge of sanity. On the edge of sanity. Oh. All right, well, let's go ahead. We're going to wrap this, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive into some of our favorite moments from some of our best segments and put them together. We're going to have a little conversation about it. We're going to play a little bit of a clip for you guys. And if you're listening to this for the first time and you haven't heard these bits, you can go ahead and listen to them and check it out and let us know what it is you think. Weigh in. If you want to check out the whole segments, they're there for you. This stuff never disappears. We'll be back, guys. Don't go too far. Much more Jigs and Bigs good stuff coming up right after this. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and Bigs and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now.
Acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind.
Yeah, it's the end of the year. You know what that means. You're going to hear plenty of that song over and over and over again in a few days. But it definitely sets the tone. Guys, it is this is our second segment. This is where we're taking a look back at some of our favorite segments that have come up throughout the last 12 months. And I feel like this was definitely a journey as they got suggested. I listen to the show each and every week, but I don't remember all of the stuff that we've talked about. Sometimes the big picture can kind of get away from us a little bit. So going back and looking at this stuff is really definitely kind of interesting. So what we're going to do here, guys, is we've got a handful of Just the Tip segments that we thought were really great, and then a couple of FTG segments that were really great as well. And apparently from our survey, some of you guys thought this stuff was really great too. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that. Sean, was there anything that you kind of caught your eye that you thought was something like notable or memorable about this last year specifically?
Yeah, in particular, the just the tips that we picked up, surprisingly enough, they weren't directly fishing related.
No, they really weren't.
And I really thought that you and I together really caught a lot of areas that the average, I'm not even say the average angler, anglers that are looking to take the next step with fishing, you have to have certain skills to get to that next step. All right. You want to start making some money and making this hobby pay for itself. You've got to be able to you got to put on a professional front. You've got to work with social media. You've got to understand the environment you're getting into, and you've got to know how to treat people when you get into that environment. We covered those 4 things in 4 separate shows.
Yeah. And
I pulled some clips that I thought were really highlights of those 4 segments. Some of them were just the tips. Some of them were hot topics, but I felt they fit. I felt that everyone in our audience, all the people that are out there, will be able to take something out of this. And even if you don't want to, and you're just a recreational fisherman and you want to do that, you can use this shit at work. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy. I went through this and figured that this was the most widely applicable tips that we could have given to anyone. And if you want to go back and listen to tournament tips or particular techniques or, evaluating a map, it's all there.
Yeah.
But these 4, I think everyone should check out.
Yeah, it's it's funny because when I went through these, I was just like, you know what? Everybody who listens to our show can gain something out of the topics that we talk about in these, no matter what. Like we've done just the tip segments before that were aimed at a novice angler, somebody just starting, and that's not necessarily going to relate to somebody, let's say, who's dabbling in tournaments or have been doing tournaments for a long time. So it's interesting. Like these kind of cross over a lot of different lines. And especially this first one, because I remember the situation at hand when this came up, and we'll talk about this afterwards. But let's go ahead and play the first clip. We titled this one "Being Pro," and what we meant by that was being professional. And what was the date on that one, Sean, that we had initially when this ran?
That episode aired on the 16th of August.
Yeah, so it was in August of this year. I mean, not that long ago, but we'll go ahead and take a listen, guys, and then on the other end of it, we're gonna chime in and kind of follow up a little bit on it. What I have found is that you find these pockets where it's the same thing, where you get folks that will just shred people because they disagree with something that maybe they put out there, or something that the way that they brand themselves, or maybe they have there's some detail that somebody finds a flaw with, and they just put so much effort on just like, well, this is bullshit and this is blah 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 and this is whatever. But really, at the end of the day, if you look at the big picture, and I've always tried to be like a big picture guy, why? What does that ever get you? I mean, at the end of the day, just work on you, and that's ultimately that matters. The biggest thing that I ever gained was when I really walked away from this work environment. I dedicated almost 20 years to them, and this is like the field I went to college for. This is what I wanted to do, and I was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm doing what I want to do, what I need to do to, and I just basically look away from all the haters, because that's really what they are. They're haters. Sean, what do you think?
When someone leaves a workplace, right?
Yep.
I think my approach to it has always been different from a lot of other people, where I'm just like, dude, good luck. And when it's not a retirement's something different. But good luck. Go out and do what you want. Like, this is America. Go out and do this. It seems like people get so locked in, and I know there's a degree of selfishness, like at certain workplaces, especially like manual labor jobs. Somebody leaves, that means it's more work for you. And I understand how that could be like a chip on somebody's shoulder, like, awesome, great. Now we're we're understaffed now, X amount of people. We're never going to get back up to speed. I get that. I get the frustration. Yeah. I've always approached it as, especially someone who has moved around careers a number of times, like, go out and try to make yourself happy, because it sucks. We have to work in this, you have to work to get what you want. You have to.
And that's the thing. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, so like, if you got to do it, you try to be happy with it. You're not happy with it, change it up.
Yeah.
Like, do something to make yourself happy. But at the same time, like when I was advising people on careers, don't just do something not well thought out. Like that's a big move you've got to make. You know what I mean? Like make sure you're prepared to do that. So when people would leave around me, most of the time I was like, man, keep in touch. Hope shit's going well. Let me know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I know when I left a couple jobs, I'm sure my name got ran through the mud. And honestly, I don't give a shit. You know, it sucks. And when I say I don't give a shit, it's not being a tough guy. The action behind not giving a shit would be if one of those people that I used to work with reached out to me and said, I need something, I would help them.
Yep.
Even though I know somebody talks shit.
Yeah, Berkshire Brett jumps in here and he goes, and I knew there was going to be a lot of feedback from this, because this is something that I feel like, you know, whether you're whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's just a passion project, let's say you're a guitar player, you know what I mean, and you want to you're like, dude, I'm going to cover every single freaking song from Lindsay Lohan's musical career, and that's going to be my shtick. Well, then do it. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Yep. Like, you got to do what you got to do, because it's almost like if that's your calling, just do it. And you know what? The thing is, people are going to do things differently than you. Like, for instance, for me as a trivia host, there are people who they run their games into completely different. Like, they play into that whole, like, well, this is basically Jeopardy and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nah, you're taking yourself far too seriously, man. You know, and there's the reality of it is that the differences between all of these avenues, like whether it's content creators, musicians, comedians, everything, the differences, podcasts. I've heard people say before, they're like, oh, I really like this podcast. I like Jigs and Bigs, but the swearing is a bit too much. And I say, fuck them.
I would like to double down on that. Fuck them.
That's the thing. It's like there's a guy who, his name is Rich Tardy, and Rich used to be in a band in this area that was just absolutely fantastic called the Swill Merchants. And Rich, I got real friendly with all the guys in that group. And there was one time we were having a discussion, and Rich said something that was like so unbelievably smart. I was hanging out with a group, and it was a couple of the guys from a band that I was in at the time. And one of our like lead songwriters was saying, oh, you know, I should, I'm considering writing more this direction. What do you think like people would want from us? And Rich goes, hey man, question for you. When was the last time Christina Aguilera knocked on your door asking what her next fucking album should be like? It's never happened. Because there's people that are going to like what you do, and there's people that are not going to like what you do, and it's up to them to decide what they like. The shit you put out has to be organic. Berkshire Brett jumps in. He goes, toxic work environments are no good. No amount of money is worth it for your happiness. I totally agree with that. He's like, I've had to move around quite a bit to get away from it. At the moment, I make okay money, but I'm a lot happier. And the thing is I feel like the value on your happiness is such a huge like point to be acknowledged. You know, like your happiness is so much more important. Like you might have to, you know, grind a little bit elsewhere, find a side hustle to make ends meet or something like that. But if you can do so and be happy, go for it. We got Andy jumps in and says they're jealous that you left and they're stuck in that shit work environment. There's definitely something to be said there too. I've for sure noticed that. Jay jumps in and says, many can relate. Haters are going to hate. Just run them out, man. They're going to be stuck in their hole while you rise up. That's exactly what it's all about. And then Nelson jumps in and says, sounds like someone that may be jealous or downright disrespecting a person for their success. It's sad, really. I mean, at the end of the day, like all you can do is just work on you. You know? Yeah.
And like I said, I've always approached it where even if someone does say you're a fucking idiot for doing this, or you're going to change your career in that, or you're leaving a sure thing, again, I don't care. Down the road, if you need a hand, let me know. I worked with you. There's a degree of loyalty. If I worked side by side with somebody for 5, 10, 20 years, I do have that degree of loyalty where I'll say, what do you need? How can I help? That's how I approach this. It's never like if someone called me up that I used to work with and said, hey, dude,
that's exactly it.
I'm in this dildo business now.
You know, it's so funny, man. I think Andy and Nelson in that, and this is why I love having the jig heads when we record, is because I feel like they added exactly that point. Because I remember at the time that we had talked about like the Just the Tips segment for that week, there was a lot of haterade going. I don't necessarily remember the exact specifics of like who was involved or anything like that, but there was something going on. There was some sort of Instagram drama or something going on with like there was obvious distaste with either a colleague or something with the way that they were doing business. And I remember being so disgusted at the time with like, God, you guys are so fucking talented and you're so good at what you do, but you're spending your time tearing down somebody else.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you gaining here, guys? You're spinning your wheels.
You know, it comes down to like the way I approach things with people, or the way I try to approach. You're never going to get along with everybody.
No.
But like if you treat people the best you can, it might come back to you one day. Like treat others how you want to be treated. Like if somebody treats you nice, you're going to go out and say, "Hey, look, you know, I see you got this going on. I have some information for you that might benefit you.
Yeah.
I have something just to help them out." And you're helping them out with no expectation on return, but they might do the same for you.
Yeah.
Like just concentrate on being positive. And if someone is negative, great, cut them right out.
Yeah.
Don't have to bash them, but you can cut them out and say, okay, you know,
and
then maybe down the road they might change, and then the same scenario pops up. You never know.
And the other thing too that's amazing is that it's when you get folks that hate on the way somebody's doing something, you know what I mean? That like they have an endeavor or something, you know, they're running their business or their organization or something one way, and hey, maybe it's a little different than yours. I feel like in order to really actually be successful, the first thing you need to do is understand that there are more than one way to achieve almost anything. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That saying is very important. So, you know, when you look at like, oh, well, hey, I would do this differently. Instead of like getting so bent out of shape and butthurt, like you'd mentioned before about Zany Radio Guy, instead of that, apply that toward what you do and make that work better. Because the best thing that you can always say is if anybody ever criticizes what you're doing, say, hey, that works for you and that's awesome. But for me, this is the way that I like to work, and I'm getting the success that I need. You know, I find that oftentimes the people who say like, yeah, but if you do it this way, you'll get such and such. Oftentimes those folks are trying to sell you something, you know, and if they're not, you have to wonder like, why should I be following exactly what you do? Because if I do that, essentially what you're doing is you're creating your own competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now you have two people that are following the same school versus allowing people to like get into what they do. And I love this when I remember I would tell folks when I started hosting smartphone trivia, right? When I started hosting speed quizzing, and folks would get on me and say like, oh, well, you know, yeah, but you want to make sure that other people aren't doing the same thing in your area because, you know, then less people are going to go. And I'm like, okay, so let's look at it like this. How many restaurants are in any one given city or town? Probably a few at the bare minimum. Yeah. Probably a few. They probably all have a burger on their menu. Mm-hmm. Does that mean nobody anywhere eats any burgers? You know, it's like there's a million places you can go. There's a million places you can go and get this specific beer or this beverage or this dessert or something like that somebody else might fucking make. But it's something about that place that you're drawn to. You know, it's like you like that place's pork chop, but the other place's pork chop you don't like. Well, somebody else might like that one. You know, it's like, and it's okay. There's enough to go around. And if you make your business about worrying what everybody else is doing, you're not progressing. You're just spinning your wheels. And it's, you know, it's a little nuts.
Yeah. I mean, really, you know, I would love people to go back and listen to all these, all the 4 selections we made, because I think there's some really good tips. But the bottom line on being professional, in my opinion, is you and I have walked the walk with that.
Yep.
Because anybody can go back through all of our nearing 100 episodes. And honestly, off the top of my head, we're not perfect, but I think the only company we shit on repeatedly and purposely, and I do not regret it, is your internet service provider, because they are fucking liars.
Man, they're fucking terrible.
Fuck them. But we don't like. There's been here's some pulling back the beef curtain shit. There's been more than one occasion where a group or a person in this fishing industry that you and I have somehow inserted ourselves into in the past 2 years, we have crossed paths with, and we have not shit on them on air, and we could. Mm-hmm. We don't. because
We realize
what,
there's a bigger.
what good does it do?
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's the name of the game. So
Now, when you and I are having breakfast at Mrs. Mitchell's, we might vent to each other then, but we're not doing it on the air.
Yeah,
There's a
different.
big difference. We're not doing it in front of other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than Mrs. Mitchell, who thinks it's hilarious. But that's it.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So I feel like this next one was amazing. This one we were talking about Instagram, and I remember at this point specifically where there were folks that were talking about the algorithm and like building their following and everything else. And a lot of people would DM me and say, "Hey, how did you guys get the growth that you got? You know, what did you?" And I'm very upfront with how we did it. You know, things that we would do to kind of like make it happen. So this one episode of Just the Tip, we had gone and kind of like revealed, like you said, pulling back the beef curtain about how we do some of the things that we do, and the thought process, most importantly, is the thought process behind it. We'll go ahead. This one's kind of short, but we're going to go ahead and get into this. We'll follow it up on the other side.
Yep. This one originally aired on October 18th.
Yeah, that's actually pretty recent.
Yeah. The last three were that we've really kind of wrapped up the year with really trying to help people out.
Hammered it out.
You know?
Yeah. Well, here we go, dudes. So the bump that you see, if you do it consistently, it really does pay off very, very well. So as long as you can get your content, seen in front of people and they dig it, then you're going to create an organic following. And that's the key word. An organic following is way more important than having this huge number of followers that aren't engaging your stuff. If you guys want to know if somebody's bullshit, you go ahead and take a look at those profiles that have 20, 30,000 likes, followers, and see what they're getting for engagement on their posts. Take a look. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your freaking mind. The last thing I want to say regarding regarding social media, or specifically Instagram, is the old, what holds tried and true is that saving posts has more impact than anything. When you go through, if you're looking at a post and you see something that you think is cool, or a content creator that you regularly engage with that you want to support, right underneath the picture you'll see three icons. The heart is for liking. The little thought balloon, that's for the comment, and then that paper airplane is to share it to your story, which is cool, but you've got this little ribbon over here to save. If you tap that little ribbon, what happens is that tells Instagram that you wanted to see that enough, you saved it, so you could go back and see it again. That has a whole lot more impact than anything else. Likes are at the bottom of the barrel. Shares, saves, comments. Boom. Very important. So that is what it is. Hopefully you guys are okay to go ahead and check it out. Download one of those free repost apps, whatever one you kind of think that you like. Give it a go. Listen to this back. Feel free to shoot me a DM too if you have any questions or anything like that, because I do see myself doing far more of this. But if you're in a position where you feel like you could benefit by having a more engaged audience, or a larger audience that is just engaged, period, this is something you want to pay attention to, and it's not difficult. Anybody can do this.
You better get a lot of thank yous from people.
That was really good. That was basically a breakdown of exactly what I do every single day when I'm managing the Jigs and Bigs Instagram account, was utilizing repost to share others' content that is related to what we're doing, but specifically choosing stuff that engages the viewer of that content. So they are more likely to comment because it asks a question, it does something. And that was huge, man. And that's honestly, between that and giveaways, like, those things are huge for building, your following, because those are real people. You're not paying for that. Like, I said it earlier on, if you look at somebody's account and they're like, oh, they have 20,000 followers, they have 100,000 followers, oh, it's amazing, but they're getting like 30 or 40 likes per picture or for post, or they're getting half a dozen comments, that's not an engaged audience. That's somebody who bought that audience. They paid monies to get that follower number up. Those are not real accounts. They're bots. They're whatever they might be, but they're not real engaged folks. They're not people who are consuming that content and engaging with it to actually push it. Because that's ultimately the cardinal rule of social media is if you're engaging it, others will then see your content. It does take time. It does. It's not something, I do this for 10 minutes every morning and I get great amounts of success. Like, you still have to like and comment and shit like that. You've got to engage. And that part of that means getting outside of your circle. And I think that's what people get stuck with. They get in this circle, and they don't really start talking to new people and like extending and,
When I went through that particular episode looking for a certain clip to pick, that was extremely difficult because that was your stamp on this in the biggest way. I mean, I stayed quiet that whole Just a Tip segment or wherever we put it. It might have been the hot topic at the beginning. But all I can say is what I said on that episode. Go listen to this. If you are trying to progress in Instagram, Bobby, I mean, you put up so much information on that. You really pulled the curtain back. I highly advise it to anybody who's trying to get anywhere on Instagram. Go ahead and listen to that. I could have, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you can see Instagram's kidneys. Thanks. That was disgusting. But true. So go anybody who's interested in looking at really taking that next step with Instagram. This man's a genius that allows me on his podcast on a weekly basis. Go ahead and check that out. So, I mean, I could have put that whole tip on there, but I had to whittle it down because you went on for a while and every bit of it was good. So
I remember going through some of these and just being like, holy crap, there's so much. But I'm like, fuck it. This is our show. I mean, people, we have more unbelievably long episodes than we have really short ones. So people are used to seeing something in their, in their player that's like 3+ hours long. So we just let it happen.
Now this next one, I titled it "Advertising Food Chain." I guess that was probably a good way to go about it, and it just kind of describes what we've learned after getting into this and what some of the things from being a businessman for so many years. But a lot of this is new to me because, I was a government employee for years, and this going out on your own where you don't have that umbrella over you is completely different. So, this is the longest clip I pulled out of all of them. This one goes a solid 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. So enjoy. The information's great. Get on it, folks. I mean, we're giving you the info again because we think it's that important. You can always learn to throw a jig or a drop shot. We'll do that too, but we're putting the exclamation point on these. So enjoy this one.
My real advice to you is this. I don't want to make it sound like I'm like I don't want you to think that I'm on the side of the companies out there handing out sponsorships because they're not handing them out. They expect something to come back, and what they expect to come back are sales. If you're expecting somebody to sponsor you with actual cash and actually make an investment in you, what you need to do is not wait for the perfect opportunity to start your YouTube channel, not wait for the perfect platform or wait for, any of this stuff. You've just got to start working what you've got and create some growth, and just be tenacious, put your catches out there. You want to engage your followers. So whatever that means, if you're going to have a conversation about something related to what you're doing, express your frustrations with the sponsorship situation. If that's the case, this is your platform. You own that platform. That's the beauty of it. But start today instead of waiting until who knows when all the stars align just right and you can get started. The same thing could be said, and I love using the example of YouTube because a lot of folks, and I've seen this a million times, and I think we've actually talked about this, Sean, before, where you need to just do it. Like, I forget who it was. I think it might have been Gary Vee who had said, your first podcast, your first Instagram post, your first YouTube video, your first TikTok, your first everything is going to suck. It is 100% going to suck, but you're never going to get to a 50th if you don't start with that one. You just got to get out there and do it. And I think, Sean, really, you could say the same thing for tournament angling, really. Like your first go round is probably going to suck balls. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you land in the money, something happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a million factors, but yeah, chances are, if you're fishing with, I mean, generally, everybody's first tournament experience is a miserable thing because you don't know what kind of caliber angler are out there until you are face to face with them.
And I think the lesson for all this is that it's like a sieve. You know what I mean? And it's the stuff that sticks with it, that doesn't pass through and just say, I'm done, I'm out, and move on to the next thing. It's the stuff that sticks with it that gets attention. And it is tedious and it sucks. You know, I mean, I'm going to use our show as an example. Sean, just before we started rolling today, said this episode we're putting together is episode number 88. That means for 88 straight weeks, because we've never missed a week, we have been putting together a show that goes anywhere from 60 minutes to over 3 hours in some cases. We've had a guest for the vast majority of all of these episodes. We're actually not making a dime doing this. And I think you guys need to understand that. Like, we don't make any real money doing this. Everything that we've made that's come in through, you know, our the partnerships that we have now, we dump right back into the show. It's just to keep it basically alive, you know. Like, that's the whole thing. So you got to look at when somebody says, yeah, but do you have a YouTube channel, or how many followers do you have on Instagram, something like that. It's not so much that they're like, are you Martin Scorsese on YouTube? Are you providing, you know, these amazing videos that are you going to take me on a journey and reinvent the wheel? All they want to really know is that you're on a platform, you're building an audience, and that there's something that can grow, you know, and that's the thing. Just having the platform isn't, I'm not saying that's enough. You've got to kind of grow it. And does it suck? Is it a pain in the ass? Yes, but you just got to be yourself, you know, and that's the beauty of it. Like, I love using my business as an example, as hosting like game shows and trivia. There are, just this week actually, the parent company who creates a software that I use released an email with some numbers of the amount of hosts around the globe using this software there are. And I try to tell everybody that I talk to, at least the upstarts that are in the US, you just got to be yourself. You just got to own whatever it is that you do and get comfortable doing that, because you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You know, you might not get every single follower that's possibly out there. What you're going to do is develop an audience. And I'll tell you this much as well. If you have a small following, but they're highly engaged and they're actually paying attention to the things that you're posting and the things that you're sharing, and they're going back and forth, that carries a lot of weight. So try not to get frustrated when you're looking for a company to make an investment in you and they ask you for some things that maybe you think don't apply. They really do apply. They really do apply overall, because again, you're asking somebody to make an investment in you, and you're asking for somebody to put their stamp of approval or their brand, their logo, literally their name up against yours. They need to see some kind of a return. And that's the tricky part. So I'm going to get off my high horse here. Sean, do you have anything that you want to jump on? Anything? Did I miss anything?
No, I just want to add, when you say you've got to be yourself and you've got to get out there and it does suck and it's hard work. I mean, watching what you do on social media every day. And right now, I mean, you've seen the past week or two, I've been in a social media rut. I haven't done shit.
Oh yeah.
It's been really, really hard, other than, I'll always, anytime someone tags me in something, I always reshare it. Mm-hmm. Always. I always make it part of my story. Yep. Someone is inviting me to they're giving content. Just like I tag people in my shit, I'm giving them content. But I haven't put up anything original the past weeks. It's 2 weeks. It's been a grind for me. But you, every fucking day you do it. Now, when it comes to the show, and this is episode 88, I had a conversation with a relative I was telling you before we started recording, and he and I were talking about YouTube, because he does a few things for his business on YouTube. And I said, we would love to do some things with YouTube, but we have to make sure it's very measured, because of the primary thing that you and I focus on, because of me and you just having a blast doing this, but the quality of audio that you bring to the table. The minute you start doing anything on YouTube, editing video is just a bitch. I complained about it a couple shows ago, I think, right? Within the past month, we were talking about that. But it's another layer. It's another God knows how, pile of work that unfortunately you and I still have to consider this a hobby.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though we're doing this every week, we
Yep.
are having fun and we're having laughs.
Exactly.
With the hope that this could become something bigger. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, it's kind of funny because these clips, now that I'm hearing them in succession without like looking at time code or anything like that and like grabbing segments, I'm hearing them now and I'm just like, holy shit, they really go together ideally. Like they really do support one another a lot. With this one here, it's like, I mean, we've said it before. It's like it's about just getting out there and doing it. We have a little project right now that's kind of in the works, and you and I, Sean, have had. I'm not going to get into specifics because we want to blow people's doors off. We want to really blow hats off of heads. Like, holy crap! When this happens. We've run out and we've had conversations about this upcoming thing that we're working on. And you've talked to me about, equipment before and stuff like that. And I'm like, we can keep it so simple, man. We can keep it so simple. I got to tell you, especially in the sense of YouTube, like honest to God, unless you are a photographer, you are you are in the visual medium. If you're making fishing content, honestly, nobody cares if your stuff is in 4K. They don't. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like I know it's really great when you have this amazing shit to watch, but like lots of your people are watching this on super tiny screens, and or if they are watching it like on a big television or something, they've got a fucking terrible internet service provider that doesn't give them that quality video anyway. Like it gets down to, you don't have to have the best quality imaging. You just need to have it be clear and be able to be heard. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow this off right now because ironically enough, while we were recording this, I got a message. Okay. And this is not weird. This happens all the time, but I got a message from somebody who had asked me about podcasting. Basically what it says is, I've been talking with a handful of people that are in my circle. Some of them do, YouTube. Some of them do this. We're considering starting a podcast about a very specific niche. And you mind if I pick your brain for a bit? Is what I get this all the time. And the questions they ask is just wondering about startup fees for different platforms, microphones, and editing software. And I got to tell you, like, less is more, and knowledge is infinitely more important when it comes to this. If you record video on your phone, and that's what you've got to be able to get started to record YouTube videos and such, fantastic. I believe, is it One Rod, One Reel? I think he uses his phone almost exclusively to record all his video. That and a GoPro. And that's basically what he uses when he does his stuff. This guy has like some of one of the biggest audiences that's out there. Like we're talking millions of followers, over 1 million if nothing else. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and look this up so that I'm not pulling this out of my ass, these numbers here. But I mean, he goes out with his phone and he uses that for some shots, and then he records everything else on a GoPro. And it's about what's in the content, that really matters, especially like with what we're doing with like fishing content. I get this. If you're doing like commercial stuff, you're reviewing like, vacation properties or something like that. You're reviewing Airbnbs or you're reviewing automobiles or something. You want to show these in the best possible quality. That I get. I completely understand that. Let me go ahead.
While you're looking, I failed to mention that this clip originally aired on 11/15/21, so that was November 15th.
Yeah, that was close. That was really, really close.
These are all chronological too, so.
Yep. One Rod, One Reel Fishing has 1.56 million YouTube subscribers. And I got to say this, he is not the most consistent at putting up videos. Like, he goes long periods of time with no videos. And, so it can be done. It's just a matter of, you just got to get started and get that ball rolling. Maybe your editing skills aren't amazing and you're like, oh, it's going to look stupid. Let it. Just let it. Trust me. There's a reason why I haven't deleted the first podcast I put on. Because I want people to hear how different it was back then. And I want people to hear the growth in the show and the programming and the topics that we talk about and all this other stuff. It's all intentional. So it's like that kind of stuff, and especially when you're talking about advertising, like just being on a platform. And I know I've said it in there. Being on a platform is one thing, and some platforms are going to work great for you, and other ones are not. Like us, we struggle with TikTok. It's just not a place where we put many of our eggs. We put the vast majority, is in the podcast. And then after that, it's Instagram. Ironically, Instagram is the one that we get the most engagement with. That's where we have the biggest numbers, is Instagram. After that, we go into Facebook. We have a fraction of what we have over there. Our Facebook numbers are much closer to the podcast listeners, per episode, really. And then, after you get into that, like, we haven't ventured into Twitter. I could start that and maybe pick up some listeners. I don't know, but it's all about making it work for you. And, you don't have to be on every platform, but you got to be on the ones that you got to be on enough. You got to try them. And if you're getting enough of a good response off of one, you've got to nurture that one the most. That, I think, to me, that's all the business coaches and things that I've looked into. They all say basically the same thing. Like, you kind of have to be everywhere, but you got to put the most eggs in where you get the biggest return. And that's, that's what it gets down to. So this is the last one for the Just the Tip segments. And this one is for networking. And we talked about going like above and beyond and like maintaining professional relationships and things like this. And Sean, I think in this one, you start this one giving like a personal sort of like walk down or like a real life situation where you have experience dealing with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and this is really runs hand in hand with the first tip or the first clip we just played in this tip section. I mean, once you've navigated the advertising food chain, and once you have your social media in place, and once you, and even on the way doing this stuff, once you've got relationships and you're being professional, you got to make sure that someone who is reaching out to you, you're treating them right.
Yeah.
And if you're, passing someone's name along as a reference, they've got to treat you right because you're possibly helping their business out. It's just a matter of respecting everyone once you're in this industry or any industry.
Yeah, any industry, truthfully. Yeah.
Yeah. Treat people right that, you're tied in with, because they'll treat you right. And if they don't, then you can get away with them, and you're going to see how high on someone else's priority list you are and make adjustments with life from there and just go on with it. Let's hear what I had to say. And this one, by the way, aired just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. This one was really recent.
On December 6th.
Oh, that recent. Holy cow. Here we go. If you have a relationship with that company, this could potentially sour that for future veterans. So it has an effect on other veterans too.
And that was the fourth group down the road.
Yep.
Maybe somebody comes in who's a perfect fit for one of those jobs, and that company won't talk to me anymore.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to wrap this in is we have not only people within our Jigs and Bigs circle, including, all of the hoodlums and the Old Glory and Three Bells families, like everybody.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everybody from that's in our circle. I mean, not everybody is working full time in the fishing industry.
Yeah.
Most people, this is a side gig from them. Maybe they're, construction or public services or whatever. They're doing all sorts of different shit.
Yeah.
And not everybody needs or has had a chance to develop that soft networking skill that is incredibly valuable when you can call up, either cold call a contact you have in the industry and say, I would like to do something and I need your help, and turn around and say, and this is what I can offer you. Now it's not free services anymore. Now you're trading goods or services or talking about them on a podcast, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's very important that those skills that I had to learn during the course of that time, that I remember them. And if someone says, yeah, hey, we'll give you some product for a giveaway, or we'll give you some product for a side prize on a tournament, or something like that, don't ever burn them in any way, shape, or form. Like, and another aspect of that is if someone is looking for something and I act again as an intermediary, and then something doesn't happen, I'm going to feel bad because now I've maybe extended, or introduced someone to another group.
Yep.
Or another person, and things don't work out, and now the matchmaker doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that aspect. I don't know how to instruct anybody who's doing all this. I mean, this goes for everybody. This goes for YouTubers. This goes for anybody who's got their own little fishing brand. You got to have something. You got to get something. You got to treat it like it's your. I mean, honestly, you got to treat any relationship you make in this industry like it's your husband or wife. You want to protect that relationship.
You got to nurture it. You
you
got to nurture it.
No, exactly. So I don't know how to tell people how to learn those skills.
It's so funny, man. We were just talking in the first segment about Naqua, and that's a perfect example of how, like, you look at like the way our relationship with Naqua has grown. That is, and I give you 100% credit there, man. Because you've been the point contact with Naqua this entire time. And, you look at you look back a year ago at this point, we knew who they were, obviously, because, their products are amazing and they don't break our feet when we drop on there. But on top of that, look at where we are now. We're on a basis now with Naqua where we try to help one another out, and they're so supportive of the show, and we're so supportive of their products that it's one of those things where being good to people, especially those that are good to you, but just being good to people in general that aren't waste of your resources, because you got to cut the fat, you got to trim the fat. I get that.
Yep.
But when you're good to people, good things happen. You really, really do. You got to, like I just said out of there, you got to nurture it. Yeah, you got to nurture that relationship. So, yeah.
One of the things that you and I do whenever we talk with, it can be anybody, and this is where this is a laugh. This is going to kind of, it's almost going to sound hypocritical to being professional, but in the context that we use, being professional. We're professional with our contacts, the people that we're around. On the show, we swear and behave like 10-year-olds.
Pieces of shit on the show,
yeah, we're complete pieces of shit. But we always tell everyone, and any listener that we've talked to personally when they've just started getting into the show, we always say, this isn't for kids.
Yep.
There's adult language. It's not safe for work.
Yeah.
That's our method. And we let everyone know, this is
we own that.
We own it.
Yep.
We're not going to get changed or swayed to do something else. This is the way we're having fun and, getting some success out of it. If you want to work with us, that's great. We're professional. Whatever you want to do, we'll jump on. If you need us for something, ask. We'll do the same. But people have to know that the way we do things and the way that you and I have, I don't know, how do you digested and regurgitated pop culture in our lifetimes results in a lot of fucking shenanigans.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. And I often find, when I reach out to companies, another example is TorqueStrap, an amazing sort of thing. And that's another one of those connections that I see moving into an entirely different, direction, or not an entirely different direction, but a similar direction to Naqua, where, I want to nurture that and make it go somewhere. And when I was speaking with the owner of Torque Strap, and I explained, I was like, listen, this show is not for kids. It is very much like we run this thing into the gutter. I feel like they notice that like we bring, while we try to be entertaining and natural, and we are our organic, filthy, disgusting selves on the show. Because we're cretins when it comes to like creating content. We're just fucking trolls, like awful humans. Ironically, oddly enough, I just put my hood up from my hoodie because it's a little chilly in the disco dungeon. So I put this thing up. I'm like, yeah, I'm a freaking troll. But when we do reach out to folks that are in positions of power with other brands and companies, and we're trying to create something and put like a relationship together, like we deliver on, I don't want to just say like the niceties and things like that, but we follow up and we're prompt, and we're, like we really do treat this like it's a business. And I feel like that's where the entertainment side comes in, because the show is entertainment. So when we say things that should probably get us canceled, and in 2021, that's a long list. We've said a lot,
Well, but there's a lot of things we don't touch on. And
that's true too.
By design.
Yeah.
I'm learning. This is my first media experience.
Yep.
And I'm trying to navigate that the best I can. I mean, it is 2021. There's things you can say and can't say. Am I perfect?
Yeah.
Probably not. I think on the first episode I was on, I said something that was pretty fucked up, and you kept it in. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cat's out of the bag
thing?
there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was awesome.
So, yeah, exactly. And all these things, like I said, all these 4 clips they're separate, but they're so intertwined.
They really are.
And like I said, just even talking about clip number 4, I had to reference clip number 1 because it just runs hand in hand.
Yeah.
The bottom line on this stuff is, you got to have an open mind for everything, and you got to treat the people around you in every capacity right, unless they're not treating you right, and in that case, they don't need to be around you anymore.
You got to make a judgment call. Exactly. There is there's obviously a threshold where you got to make a decision to say this is not going anywhere, but you got to treat people the right way. You got to follow up. Hey, people flake on some things, but you don't want to be that guy. That's the thing. You don't want to be that guy. You want to come through and, look the best as possible and represent what you're, because there's something bigger. Like when you create a brand, you're not just you're that brand. You're that and everybody else involved. So you want to come off looking the right way. And I as much as like I'm an old punk, like I would love to say like fuck image. Image is nothing. Image, and the taste that you leave with people goes a long way. You know what I mean? You're laughing. Go ahead.
I am laughing because since you flipped your hoodie up, and you've been sipping on that beer periodically, I'm like, with all the Star Wars I fucking watched over the past 2 days, I'm like, and here we have our new Sith Lord, Darth Wasted.
Darth Wasted. It's true, dude. This is delicious. Let's just a little shout out there. Drinking a Trogs Mad Elf, which is a holiday ale brewed with cherries and honey, and it is delicious. These are fucking potent too. Oh, this is an 11%er.
Which this is a shame that our Jigheads are not in on this one due to the time we're recording and some other things going on with the production of this. We kind of kept this one closed, but everyone should enjoy seeing pictures of Darth Wasted if you can post one up.
You know what? I might do a selfie right now while we're thinking of this. I think this might actually be a great
do it
idea.
while you're laying into that beer. Look like a fucking college girl.
Look at that. Look at that.
Oh my God. Look at you. Savage animal.
Merry Christmas.
So bottom line, 2021, we and you and I together, I think we put a lot of good information out there for people to think about who want to go forward.
Yeah.
Not only in the fishing industry or doing whatever they're doing or social media. Mm-hmm. Check these episodes out. Again, the 4 air dates on these things were August 16th, October 18th, November 15th, and December 6th. Check those out. And, we're open books. If you have any questions, Jigs and Bigs, what is it? Jigs and Bigs at gmail.com.
Yep. jigsandbigs413 at gmail.com.
413. I'm a piece of shit. I forgot the 413. Now, I've been looking forward to this next part, and I know that a lot of our audience has been looking forward to hearing this again.
Yes, they have.
We're off to the fuck this guy best of. There's a couple of them.
There's a couple of them, man. There were shocker. The ones you guys seem to like the most are the ones that we also seem to like the most as well. So no surprise there. I'm going to play this alternate intro just as a little homage to how this whole thing got started. Never forget the day that dropped. I will never forget that. Derek sends me a message and he's like, literally almost pissed myself in the truck on the way into the shop today. He's like,
that is my favorite response to anything we do when somebody texts me and is like, I vomited blood laughing for 2 hours because of this one part. All right,
dude,
good. We did something right.
What about that video of Paul from Bass and Brews? Like, yes. I forget what the show was. I forget what the topic was, but he recorded himself driving in, listening to the show, laughing, like belly laughing, holding onto the wheel, like, and I've used it before. I'm just like, that we couldn't pay for that kind of fucking representation. That is awesome. Like, oh my goodness, it is great. And so
we
good.
risked the traffic safety.
We did
of most of the Mid-Atlantic that day because Paul was driving around, crapping his pants, crying, laughing, not swerving in and out of lanes. I'm sure yelling at people. You guys listening to this shit?
These are the funniest Yankees I ever heard. So good, so good. I remember. Oh God, that was so good. So. There's two of these that are really good. These were like, no, I don't think the open actually shows up anywhere in these. I think these are actually pretty clean.
Bobby, you have both of these queued up, right?
I do. I have them both ready to rock.
I think based on the survey, this is a last second audible. Why don't we play not the one that was on the survey first.
Oh, okay. We'll do them in reverse order.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I fucked that up.
No. It's good. It's good. This was one that like I feel like we kind of knew that this was coming because you had heard this story previously from Loaded Potato, right?
No, I think I heard something else.
No.
And this was a surprise to me. And I think during the episode, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's good. This is so good because when we record these segments, we intentionally leave our mics open. So there's natural reactions on all of this shit. It's so good. Let's go ahead. Let's listen to this very first one. This is our very own jighead, Andy, Loaded Potato. Hi. And this week we have a submission from one of our jigheads, one and only Mr. Andy Quinn, and he left us a message on our website. If you go to jigsandbigs.com, you click the orange button that just says leave a voice message, and you can leave a 60-second message, whether we fuck this guy or something else. But let's see what Andy had to say.
Hey guys, I've got a story for fuck this guy. Coming off the water, heading over to the ramp, I realized there's a couple boats lined up there trying to get out of the water, trying to get in the water. There's two cars on the ramp, and they both have their little personal watercraft behind them. As we get closer, I realize that one of these guys has got his personal watercraft in the water, and he's not loading his boat or loading his personal watercraft or unloading it. He's washing his car. He's just sitting there washing his car. People are standing around waiting. Get a little closer. I give him the international sign for what the fuck are you doing? And he looks up, he sees, he looks around, continues to wash his car. 0 fucks given. But eventually he dragged it out of there, and we got underway. But I don't know where anybody thinks that it's okay to wash a car at a boat ramp.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy so hard. It's so absurd. It's comedic.
Like, I mean, and there's so many questions. Like, how? What did he have a siphon going and he was just taking pond water? Like
my biggest question is, when did Berkshire Brett buy jet skis?
He would never
We love
own
you,
lake
Brett.
lice.
I'm just kidding.
He would never own a set of lake lice. Never.
No, never.
It would never
He is not a lake louse himself.
No,
No.
he is not. Oh,
I mean, how do we break this down? I mean, what? You're right. There's so many questions.
There are.
There's not a lot of answers.
Like, in a way.
I've got two answers right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Drugs and or alcohol.
See, that's where my head goes right there. But it's like, okay, so put yourself in that mindset right there. You're out, to recreate on the water. You've got the appropriate tools to make that happen. In this case, some jet skis and stuff. You're out to enjoy yourself, and then as you're loading up, right in that moment, you're like, you know what? My ride is not exactly as sparkly as it could be. Something needs to be done. I don't know. I have seen people go to like a car wash and, with maybe a boat, or I assume people with kayaks do the same thing, spray them off, like when you go into like a shit body of water that's just got a bunch of like stuff on it. You want to clean off your boat. Yeah, I could see that, but like, I don't know.
I mean, I know where he was at. Mm-hmm. And boat ramps tend to accumulate floating plants and shit. Like,
true.
Was he washing his car with a lily pad that floated up? Some hydrilla, perhaps?
Some eelgrass. He's like,
you know what buffs the shit out of a car? Eurasian milfoil.
It really does. It really does. You want to talk about building a lather? Eurasian milfoil will definitely build a good lather.
Yeah. So, fuck that guy. I mean, bottom line, what a piece of shit. That's awful.
That's just so bizarre. So, okay. So here's Berkshire Brett, I think, is putting this in here. He goes, so was he getting buckets of water from the lake to wash his car? Did he have a pump, a generator, or a power washer with him? I want to know the mechanics behind this achievement. That's what I'm saying, Brett. To some extent, I feel like it was just I feel like this was just, in terms of engineering it all, is amazing.
I don't know, Bobby. Why doesn't Brett tell us?
I just laughed so hard I farted. Oh, Jesus.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I made the man shit his pants. From a closer-up of my fucking ugly face.
Oh my God. Yeah, and then again, the logical question, Lockwood jumps in and says, I have a great idea. My dirty car with dirty pond water. That's the thing. If he was using pond water.
Well, that is a pretty clear lake. I mean, it's a mountain lake, Cody. It's pretty rocky. Smallmouth live there. Plenty of trout. It's nice and clean. For the most part, unless you count the Eurasian milfoil and the floating plants, but again, I'm sure some drunk guy took a poop in there one day. Whatever.
It's true. Farts are tricks at our age. You're damn right, Lockwood. Right, Lockwood. Yeah. So fuck that guy. Just fuck that guy. Bizarre. I don't know. I love that fucking segment, man. This is so good. It's so fucking good.
We wrapped so much shit into that, and it
really did.
So much to unpack. That one aired on July 26th. Was I in Minnesota for that one? No, I was home.
I think you just got home.
I just got home. So that was what I was greeted with upon my return to the East Coast. People washing their cars in lakes.
And I mean, I think this was it this year or was it last year? No, I think it was last year. It was my first real introduction to like the jet ski enthusiast. And I was like, oh, you listen to Nickelback. Like it was one of those realizations. You know what I mean?
Pound White Claws.
Oh, I gotcha. Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just one of those things where I'm like, this is nuts. And then, and from that point, like the lake lice, like it's become something that gets talked about regularly. I remember this past summer I was at a gas station and somebody was at the gas pump fueling up their frickin' debauchery rockets. And that was good. That was good. And they're fueling up their debauchery rockets. And I think my youngest daughter had gone in to get like sodas or something like that and was coming out. And I recorded, there's a reel on our Instagram where I did my best Attenborough impression. And I was like, in this natural environment, the lake louse can be found. And I'm like, oh, what have I created? This is a monster. Maybe we need to create a Jigs and Big stickers that's an FTG, like a license plate. Like FTGLKLC. Fuck that guy, Lake Lice.
FTLL.
Oh, fuck that, Lake Lice. Ooh, that's a good idea. Build it off of like an old school green Massachusetts license plate.
Yeah, and I have a design that I think I could work into it, so we're good.
Oh, I love that idea. See what's happening here? We're looking at it's the year retrospective, but it's all good. The other thing about that clip right here is that makes this the first episode where not only did I burp on the mic, but albeit accidentally, I thought I muted myself. I burp constantly during the show, but I'm always muting the mic. Except for tonight, because I'm a piece of shit. And not only that, on this episode, we had one where I farted during the recording as well. So I'm a fucking mess, man. I'm a gassy fucking mess.
Darth Spray is a real piece of shit.
Darth Spray. Darth Turds, too.
Darth Turds.
So that brings us to our next element right here. And this was the clip. It was the number one most voted for, most loved FTG segment. It was also mentioned again in the comedic segments because this was just pure gold. Like, it was amazing. And what I love about this clip is that there's a little bit of setup there. And this is actually, this clip, I think, describes everything. I think we should just go ahead and get right to it. What do you say, Sean?
Yeah, before we start real quick,
Yep.
I think we mentioned it earlier. This is my favorite clip because we did no work for this. We had nothing to do with it. We've inspired people to be creatively idiotic to each other, and that's awesome. Our legacy. Yeah, it was great.
I equate this to the movement in the late 90s when back those Massachusetts listeners, if you remember, if you used to listen to like rock radio in like the mid to late 90s from Boston on the station WAAF, back in the day when Opie and Anthony were on there, before Anthony had lost his fucking mind and disappeared, and got fired, I should say, before all that shit happened. But back then, this is, I feel, on the level of when they were in Boston radio is Whip 'em Out Wednesday. I feel like this is our Whip 'em Out Wednesday, the FTG. I really do.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, and I think that this is the best representation of it right here. Here we go. Your nominees, if you will, for the Fuck That Guy segment, you can do so by going to jigsandbigs.com, tapping that leave a voice message button, and you get 60 seconds to sound off. So, a close friend of the show reached out to us with this one, and I'm going to go over those details right now, and I'm going to play these in the order that I received them. I'm going to say this much, that they are in fact related. Sean, please leave your microphone open. I need any of your reactions to be absolutely genuine. Here we go.
Am I going to ruin this?
No.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Sean. This is Joe from Old Glory Outdoors. I got a quick Fuck That Guy. It involves Wild Bill. So I'm out here fishing with him right now. He can't hear me, but I just watched him lose what would have definitely been his personal best. He hooked up to it, then came out of the water, good 5 to 6 pound fish, and the asshole couldn't even land it. So I think he kind of deserves to be the Fuck That Guy this week, because he can't even land his PB. That's all I have.
Now that is brutal.
What the fuck did he? What was the problem? How did he? What did he fuck up with the net? Did he?
No. I think this was what Loaded Potato would say, a long distance release. I think that's right. And you know what? I mean, it happens, you know? I mean, that's like part of the game. It happens.
That is the most ruthless FTG we have had.
It really is. Who the fuck is Joe Brown? But
who the fuck's Joe Brown?
He brought it. He brought the heat. Now I'm gonna paint the picture for you, okay? I was out with my daughter, bringing her to an appointment on Saturday, and I get a text from Joe Brown himself. He's like, "Hey, just left you an FTG, enjoy." So I get the clip and I listen to it, and I am pissing myself with laughter. I am dying at this, but it gets better. It gets better because about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours later, I received this message.
Oh my God.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Sean. Bill Rogers, Wild Bill Fishing from Hookset Hoodlums. I just wanted to participate in the Fuck That Guy segment. Today's Fuck That Guy, for me, is Joe Brown. I know what you're thinking. Who the fuck is Joe Brown? Joe's the dude from Old Glory Outdoors. Anyway, Joe and I went out on a local river to try to get on some largemouth bass and whatever else we may catch. I was blessed enough to have an incredible day where I caught a ridiculous amount of bass.
Is he reading
now,
from
I
a
can understand
script?
the hate and envy that this might cause in a man like Joe, because that just wasn't the type of day that he had. Anyway, early on in the morning, I had hooked up with a pretty big fish. I knew it was big, and then when it jumped, it broke water, and needless to say, probably every bit of 5, close to 6 pounds. Would have been my PB. It spit the hook in the air, and that was it. I tried not to react. Well, all day, Mr. Joe would taunt me. Yeah, that's a good fish, but it's not as big as the one you had on this morning. Dude, that was a PB. Started out by saying, dude, that might have been 5 pounds. A couple hours later, like, that was a 6-pounder you lost earlier. By the end of the day, Joe was convincing me I lost a 9-pound largemouth. Fuck that guy, man.
Now I want to say this. 2 things. First and foremost, this is the first time we've ever had a Fuck That Guy segment that was cyclical. Like where one literally fucked the other and the other one fucked the other. This is the first time ever, and this blows my mind. I'm truly loving this for all it is. But the other thing is this. Children of the 90s, you will appreciate this. What Wild Bill just said, the tone in his voice, the enunciation, the patter in his speech, does it not sound like a young Kevin Arnold from the Wonder Years?
Oh my God.
Right? And like, you know,
how many fucking Wild Bill Fred Savage memes did you just spawn with that one statement?
I know, dude. Wild Bill Fred Savage. But then does that make Joe Paul?
Oh my God.
Paul Pfeiffer?
Does that make Joe?
Is
Marilyn Manson?
Oh, it's so good. Thank you guys for your submissions. That was
That's
comedy
funny.
gold without a scriptwriter. That was amazing. And yeah, you're
Well,
100% right. It felt like he was reading that from
I think we
his
had
notes.
a script writer somewhere
Yeah.
in there, but that's great. Excellent effort.
The fact that he goes, he thought he had me thinking I lost a 9-pound bass. Yeah, that's right there. That's Joe going, mission accomplished.
When Wild Bill is using the word envy in normal conversation, that's when I raise an eyebrow.
It's amazing, dude.
That was good. That was good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So again, if you guys have somebody you want, my God, that was so good. Like it was. I that was like podcasting cruise control that day because it was so good. It was so good, man. And like the good Toyota cruise control, like the one, like the radar, it just keeps you not. It's like perfect. It was so good. Oh my goodness. In fact, I think I just got inspiration for the artwork for this segment.
I think we both did. Yeah. This clip, I mean, I almost want to nominate it for the clip of 2021 because this was fucking great.
Yeah. We need that. So yeah, I saw you just left a private message there. Make that happen. Because
I will.
I'll need it. Yeah, that's great. That is so good. Oh man, I'm telling you, like This show is special. I love this program. It's so good. And like reliving all this stuff, like this was a great example because it's everything that we're really trying to do with this show. We're trying to give a little bit of education. We're trying to set people up so that they can progress and grow and you know, and we can help them get there. You know, that's what we want to do because we're trying to get there ourselves. So we're going to share the things that we've got to be able to offer. But also, like, these amazing stories, that's, like, the foundation of what this show is all about. Like, it's so good. You hear it in the interviews when I talk about the biggest, like, that moment, like that, like, this, it's so good. And that's kind of what FTG is sort of all about. So we're just building on that. It's so awesome, man. I'm so lucky. Like, it's so good.
Asked for dueling FTG came our way, and it was gold.
Yeah,
it was gold.
It was so good. And when I saw, you know, I mean, weeks ago, when I saw the numbers that was getting in the survey, as far as people remembering that, I was like, yeah, that was so freaking good. Like, it's one of those things that I think people will be talking about for quite some time. So,
yep. If anybody wants to review that, and I think we had some more information on that. I didn't put the whole thing in there. That was September 20th.
Yeah.
Episode. Yep.
That's right. That's right. Yep. It was right after we got back from Champlain. That's right.
Those two are out there pointing fingers at each other on the river.
And I love that Joe's was on the water because, like, that was about the point where, like, we started getting, there were a number of other FTGs that were out there where people were on the water. And I love that because, like, when you're on your phone, you got your phone on speaker and you're telling your story on the phone, and, like, you can hear the water, you can hear the pond or whatever, you know, the ambient sounds in there. I think that is so unbelievably cool because it's at that point, you know, that, like, there's passion behind what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like in Joe's case, it was straight up haterade right from the teat of the haterade calf. You know what I mean? Straight up haterade. It was so good. And then just the frustration in Bill's voice when he's like, he had me believing it was a 9-pound bass.
Yeah.
So good.
That whole thing's just spiraled right out of control, and Bill had to deal with it. It was really, really good.
So that makes up the Just the Tip and FTG segments that we loved, that were absolutely fantastic. Sean, this we're gonna pull an audible here. We got a way that we can do this. We can either play our final clip from our interview, and then go to break and follow up with that break, or would you like to start the interview segment with that clip? What do you think?
Let's do this and go to break, and then our last segment will be talking to the subject in this clip. So we'll follow up with a how you been, what's been going on.
I love that.
We got some stuff. Let's wrap up. Let's put a bow on 21 with the clips, and then move on and talk to the man, the myth, the legend himself.
I love it,
Nate Shagnon, after the break. But let's hear what Nate had to say on April 5th of this year. I pulled a couple minutes. If anybody is unaware of what Nate accomplished in the spring, and then his story, his life story. I mean, I put a small clip on there. You got to listen to that interview. There's a reason. There's a reason that interview is popular, and it won this. It won the most popular interview. We loved it. I love working with Nate, both on chronic trips and fishing against him at MAKB and EKF and the occasional KBF event. He fishes a little more of those than I do, but Nate is a top-notch guy.
He's a great competitor, and he's a great dude.
Yeah, and you mentioned last episode, we're up here in the Northeast, we bust balls, and Nate just lets it slide off his back, and he'll turn right around and bust your balls again. But Nate's one of those guys you want on your side, and I'm glad that we've really, both of us have stricken a friendship with him over this past year. Nate's a great guy, bottom line.
Yeah, he is. He's such a good dude.
Let's catch a little bit from that interview, and then after the break, we'll come back and we'll see what our good buddy has to say, dude.
I love it. All right, here we go.
I was getting texts. Like, that's one thing I love about this sport. I've been fishing KBF. This is my 4th year. I hopped into it balls deep in 2018 and started traveling immediately. And So I had people texting me. My buddy Mark, he was down there, but he's from West Virginia. He's texting me. I had Jason Gardner up in Maine texting me. I had Johnny DeCenzo. He was down there. Shout out to him. He finished third on day 2 and also got big bass. So good for him.
That's huge.
But it was, I mean, I had people from all over. I think I looked at my phone at the end of the tournament. And I had something like 30 Facebook notifications, something like 42 chat notifications, like missed calls, texts, Instagram, you name it. My phone was blowing up. I had to charge it about 3 times.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, they do the award ceremony and all that. And after that, I started reaching back out to people who had been reaching out to me. And I know I talked to Sean and stuff. And I actually had to call Sean back when I got to Massachusetts and be like, dude, I know we talked, but I have no idea what was said. That day was a blur.
I'm sure it was, man.
So many people.
I asked you if you were drunk. You're like, I didn't touch a drop. I'm like, okay,
Dude,
well, you were just adrenalized. Good for you.
Yeah, like, I mean, I had one drink that night when I got home, but no, I wasn't drunk. It was all a blur. I had talked to so many people. My adrenaline was going from like goddamn 7:40 in the morning. I was shaking from adrenaline. Like it was absolutely berserk. And even like we went to the award ceremony and you know, the top 10 go up there and get their big checks, and that was cool. I actually got to go up with Joe DiDeo. He placed 9th, traveled down there with me. That was awesome to get to go up there with him. And you know, I'm talking to these guys who are huge names in KBF. Russ Snyder's, he came in 8th. I mean, the dude who won it on Wheeler last time it was there, he came in 4th. He was up there. Drew Gregory came in 2nd from Paddle and Fin podcast. Yep. And his buddy actually won it. They tied. And we were all up there talking, man. I looked at them. We were talking. And they were like, dude, you had us out at the beginning. It was a hell of a run. Like, it was back and forth. And I looked at Drew, and I was like, dude, I lost a 22. And he was like, what? Like, you had one on the board. I was like, no, I lost another. And even, like, you know, they were like, oh, wow. Like, so we all did the math. It would have been 99 inches and change if I had got the photo.
Just out of curious, Nate, what was the difference?
That was an intense interview. That was so good. Like, his whole story was just amazing. Like, I remember getting feedback. People were like, when that episode dropped, people were just like, that was out of this world. Like, who is this guy? That is absolutely crazy. The whole story, like everything about his family and about like getting into the sport, and then like that day, you know what I mean? Like the whole deal. Like it was so good. It was one of those situations where I felt lucky to be able to have this guest sharing that experience on this program. Like, I thought it was so unbelievably cool.
Yeah, and the buzz was, I mean, at that time of the year, everybody was interested in fishing. You know, it was that time of the year where everyone's fired up to go. And then Nate, was Nate at that point a hookset hoodlum, or was it right after that he became one?
It was. It was like right before that. Like,
yeah,
I know he had gone down, and in the pictures of him holding the check, he's wearing. I think he's actually wearing the Underwater Robberies hat.
That's right. That's right. And the picture where he's passed out on the bed sleeping with the 2 checks, which was phenomenal. But
that's great.
I mean, that was a great win. But then when we started, or when, you know, I was on that interview too, I believe, right? And when we really started talking about his history and how he got to where he is fishing, that is it was a made for TV story, man. So I could only, it was either include the whole interview or take just the tiniest sliver of it. I highly recommend April 5th. Our show on April 5th. Go back, listen to it. It's phenomenal, and you'll get to know Nate. And man, he's an open book, and he's a great guy. So check him out.
I highly recommend you guys go back, listen to that full interview, check out that show, and I mean, it's one of the most. It's the one that got voted the most votes for a reason. It's a great story. I would also go and recommend and say this. All of our most popular episodes, the ones that we listed in that survey from the earlier segment, all of those are great interviews. Like, go check out the one with Brandon, the one with Rachel, the one with Joel, the one with Brian and Brett from Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again, and the one with Nate. Check those all out, because if you've ever missed any of these great episodes, there is just so much as far as authentic, great stories that are in there. Like, I mean, when I started this show, we started with guests. That's what we started with, having a guest on and talking about fishing, and just the level of community that's come up. I had, like, it's so funny. Like, just this week, I had Slaunch Doctor come up in conversation this week, because I'm like, I got to make some time to get down to Tennessee and do some fishing. You know, I want to get out and do some traveling, and that's part of where, like, the car camping comes from and all that stuff. So hoping to make that all kind of work, but fantastic. Hey, when we get back from this short break, guys, we have Nate, and we're gonna find out how the rest of his 2021 has gone from that point in April, and kind of see how things are going and what he's looking at for 2022. So we're gonna catch up with Nate, find out how all this stuff goes. Don't go too far. We have much more show coming up right after this. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states, or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak, or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Guys, here we are. Yeah, I know you guys hear that sound, that intro music here, and you're thinking, oh, it's the end of the show. We must have missed something. No, you didn't miss anything. This has been a crazy show. We had our moments earlier, the best of the year. We talked about some of the stuff that you guys had picked on our survey. What was the best stuff looking back over 2021? And we got the guy who was lit up all over the place in that survey of our most listened to episodes of the past year. He was the leader with the most votes. We got Nate Shagnon here, guys. Nate, that is the wrong button. There we go, Nate. That is much better. That's twice in this episode. I got problems. Twice in this episode. How we doing? How's everything going, Nate?
Good. I actually lost your audio for a little bit until you asked how I was doing.
Good stuff.
I was trying to read lips before that, but
weird. Okay, I got everything going all right over here. We got Sean the Fisherman, of course. Now, Nate, we had just listened to a clip from your segment that was awesome when you were on, and you were talking about over at Pickwick and how when you were up getting the check, you had a conversation with, I forget who it was with, and you had told them that you lost a 22, and they're like, oh, no, you got that on there. And then you said, I lost another one. And there was just this moment, I'm just like, wait a minute, hold on, because I caught a 22-inch bass. I can't imagine a goddamn day when I could catch two, hook up on two. That's insane.
It was rough, man. That fish still haunts me.
That was awesome. Oh, yeah.
I still think about it. I still talk to John Ferreira.
Yep.
I called him that day, and he kind of helped me through a mental breakdown when that thing jumped off the boat.
Oh, yeah.
He talking me off a cliff, but...
That kind of shit just messes with your head. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, we heard about it with the OGO Joe and Wild Bill phone call when Bill lost a doozy. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, by the end of the day, it was what Joe was saying. That fish was 9 pounds. Which is
amazing for a 16-incher.
Yeah, that's amazing. That must have been a rotund largemouth. Good Lord. Let's catch up a little bit, Nate, as far as what your year looked like, because you were all over the place going all over, but you were also busting your ass this summer too. Walk us through how, like what's gone on between the last time we heard from you in the spring, hot off the heels off of Pickwick, to like where you are now, where you literally just got off the ice up in Maine. That's pretty awesome.
I did all right in some local tournaments this year at the beginning of the season, right after Pickwick. And then I traveled up to Candlewood in May in Connecticut, fished the KBF event. Ran into Mr. Dominic up there.
Oh, yeah.
I was there. True story.
Yeah.
And then... where did I go from there? Messalonsky might have been next.
Yep.
And
that was for EKF, right?
That was for EKF.
Nice.
Yep. Did that one in Winnie. And then I actually had to take 2 months off in the summer. I actually was working weekends and everything. So I took a little 2-month hiatus and then came back and did all right in the end of the local tournaments here in Mass.
Nice.
And wound up kayak fishing right up to, I think I went out December 12th was my last time out in the kayak.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, and yesterday was the first trip for ice. Ran up to Maine and found some ice up there.
That's awesome. Awesome, man. Yeah, this is, this time of year in Massachusetts, we don't always get, safe ice that's easy to access. So it's kind of nice that we can just hightail it, up a state or two and get into some decent stuff. I know that we've got friends of the show that are up in Maine also. So that seems to be the popular spot. And my wife's grandmother today actually had asked me today, she said, I saw you got a new truck. Randomly, she says, do you go to Maine? and then the conversation went from there to medical cannabis. So it was just kind of interesting. So thanks, Grandma. Nice.
Took some left turns.
That's how it works with my in-laws. It's just a bunch of turns. But that's pretty awesome, man. So you are voted by Jigs and Bigs listeners who took part in our survey as we're saying like the go-to guest, the guest that got the most votes out of our most listened to episodes over the last 12 months. Pretty amazing. Definitely there was one of those categories as well when we asked about best or favorite interviews. Specifically, people were talking about, there was one entry that said one of your guests had talked about seeing a butterfly right before a big tournament, and I was like, yeah, that was Nate. I remember that. Absolutely. So yeah, that interview struck a ton of chords with people all over the place. Like, I think you definitely became like the kayak fishing darling from New England. Like, that's pretty badass, man. That's awesome.
It means a lot, man. That was still a real emotional weekend. Yeah. And to be able to come on and tell that story and the way people responded.
Yep.
I got a bunch of responses on my Instagram and everything, and it meant a lot, man. It did.
That's awesome, dude.
And selfishly on our part, we'd like to thank you because you did hold off on the Associated Press tour that you did after you got back, and you said Jigs and Bigs first, which That's awesome, man. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Propping us up.
Hey, man, I still remember we talked about it, and I believe we almost booked it for right before. And I think I told you, nah, let me go down, see how I do, and then we'll do it when I get back. And yeah, that was
that's awesome, man. That is awesome. What's your 2022 schedule? Are there any specific tournaments that you're specifically looking forward to? Any areas that you're planning on traveling for next year?
So I believe my season starts end of January.
Yep.
I'm headed down to Kissimmee, Florida, fish the 10 Invitational and the 2 trail events.
Cool. That's awesome, man. Have you ever been down that way before?
My dad lives down in Florida.
Oh, all right,
so I've
nice.
fished down there, but I've never fished a tournament down there.
Yeah.
I've had buddies who have gone down in years past, and I've thought about it, but I've only ever qualified for the trail events.
Yep.
And with Pickwick, if you get top 10 in any KBF trail, you get to go fish the Invitational, and if you win that, they let you into the 10 tournament. So
that's
awesome. I'd go give it a shot this year.
Yeah, why not? Go for it. And let's be honest, like this time of year, that's a perfect place to be to get out of the cold, man. It's perfect. Nate, what do you think was like your highlight for 2021? If somebody asked you about your 2021 season, was it Pickwick? Like, is that what you're going to go with there?
Yeah, probably.
I can't say I don't blame you at all. What was the lowest tournament moment for you though? What was like on the contrast where you were like something happened and you're just like you can't shake that?
I mean, losing that other 22, that one still haunted me. But
yeah.
I mean, I had a couple of tournaments this year that were just awful. I'm pretty sure I had a local one that I left by noon and was eating nachos before the tournament was even over. So it was just miserable, cold, windy, rainy.
You know what? I think I heard something about that, actually. I think so. Sometimes those days, though, that's the best call. When you're like, yeah, let's just go ahead and grab lunch.
I mean, Candlewood definitely is one I want back. I had 2 great pre-fishes. Day 1, I set into a lot of fish, and a lot of fish came off, and I realized my hooks weren't as sharp throughout the week and changed them for day 2, but could only get 1 fish to commit again. So
that sucks. What can you do?
There was definitely more ups than downs this year.
That's awesome. That's huge. And ultimately, like that's all you can ever look for. I mean, it's like every day is a brand new adventure. Every day is, who knows what you're going to catch. I mean, you put in the work, exactly. Some days they're biting, some days they're not, and it's all about, just taking note of the high points. So that's huge, man. Very, very huge. We got a good EKF tournament coming up locally here, the Connecticut River.
We do.
Yeah, that's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to enter that one. I know I'm I'm only doing it because it's so local, and it's like I kind of have to, But I'm excited about it. I think it's awesome. I think that's it's a great super pressured fishery, But it's right here in our backyard. It's probably the best resource that anybody in the Pioneer Valley has to get on some really really good, some amazing fish. But it's.
I believe it's the whole river.
Yeah. Yeah, basically from Vermont to Connecticut. It's big.
It's a lot of pre-fishing to be done before that one, for sure.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I'm going to be starting in April. Oh, man. That's awesome, man. Well, so what else is new? What else have you been up to? I mean, I know you're getting out on the ice, and you managed. I know you posted a dinner plate on the gram that was pretty freaking impressive, man. That's badass. Do you have anything over the winter that you're going to be hitting up? Any places that any trips or anything like that? Or you just is going to be basically social calls on the ice?
So I usually do an ice trip. Well, we actually started it last year, but me and a buddy go up in February to way up in Maine. I forget what town it is, but there's a guy you can rent a shack, $100 for the weekend, and we go camp out there.
Oh, that's
For
great.
the weekend and pull some trout through the ice, and then also I think in February I'm headed down to South Carolina for a KBF event as well.
That's awesome, man. Nice.
A little bit of traveling throughout the winter before work kicks back up again.
That's not a bad thing, though. You know, you make the best, and that's exactly it. Like, if you can't get the kayak in the water locally, like, hit the road, and you've got the opportunity to do it, man. That's the way to go. Sean, I like this ice shack idea. that might be something to consider.
It's just more work, man. I'm telling you, I just go out there for a couple hours and until I get cold, and I am not super ice fishing, but if you're super ice fishing, yeah, shack's a great idea. Nelson has one with his crew. They've got the collapsible tent. Generally, we use that as the restroom for some privacy.
Well, I'm thinking just more or less.
The one we were at in Maine is it's almost like a cabin on the ice. You drive out to it. It's got like kitchen stove and stuff inside of it. Full heater, like on the wall, beds to sleep in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like something like that for a weekend. That's killer.
Yeah, it was cool. Besides, last year we got caught in a blizzard.
That's no good.
Second day. You couldn't even see 5 feet in front of you.
Man, that's rough. That is freaking rough. You got anything you want to throw in here, Sean?
Yeah, Nate hasn't mentioned it, and I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show. I'm going to go ahead and blow the lid off this one. So Nate is actually going to be doing a lot of nuts and bolts on the Chronic Trips tournament.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. He is a fellow nature nut like I am. So we're kind of tag teaming the tournaments. It was a lot easier because I have been doing all the I don't know, what do you want to call it? The setup, etc. So Nate and I have been in contact over the past couple months. We know that, like we announced earlier, this tournament's going to be pretty much status quo as the last one, fresh and salt water, catch it off anything, ice, boat, shore, whatever you want to do. But we're going to try and align that a little more with the way that we're hoping that Fishing Chaos can come through for us with the Jigs and Bigs. So things might be a little different going forward, starting in April for both tournaments. But for now, Nate is going to be cutting his teeth on Judge and Fish. And if you guys think I'm a hard ass,
buckle up.
He yells at me. Yeah. Like tighten it up, pull your socks up, Sean. That's what I hear. So
that's going to be good.
Looking forward to helping out. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Honor, really?
Yeah.
That Sean asked me to jump on the team and help out, and excited to see what this year brings with that.
We had, I was lucky enough to get, speaking of Chronic Trips, there's, Chronic Trips is really kind of getting into, recreational activities on the water, whether it's fishing or, boating or anything like that. They're mixing it up, and they are in the process of putting together for the organization, a multi-kayak trailer. And I happen to know the guy who's doing the work on it, and I've seen the plans. It's pretty awesome. It's very awesome. Very, very cool. So, I mean, Chronic Trips has cool shit going on. I mean, I got to give them a round of applause they started this whole, Pioneer Valley focused CPR style tournament, just in general, multi-species, everything's inclusive. It's a whole lot of fun. And I think had they not started that, we probably wouldn't have run and started following suit to do something was so branded to the show. So I think this is going to be a whole lot of fun. I think I might have to actually enter some of those tournaments because this last year, that was one of the biggest highlights for me was the Jigs and Bigs tournaments, not just from an operational standpoint of doing them, but entering them and even putting a stupid bet, mind you, but not one I wanted to lose in the September tournament with Derek, because let's be honest, Limp Bizkit is terrible, and I'm not about to go and wear any kind of attire supporting their cause.
Fair enough. And you succeeded.
I succeeded. Legitimately,
Way to rub that in on the birthday boy.
Yeah, I know. That's right. It is. It's Derek's birthday. Oh, to be 17 again. But no, pretty good stuff, man. It's always awesome to have you on, Nate, and catch up. We have some big stuff coming up in 2022. Do you have any goals fishing wise that you kind of want to throw out there as far as like resolutions almost for the new year?
I'd like another top 10 finish in the KBF.
That'd be awesome.
Trail event this year. There's quite a few I'm going to be going for. I'd like top 10 angler of the year in the local trail. And,
nice.
Just expand for ice. I'd like to, set a new PB for another multi-species because it's nice to get that.
There you go.
Not really in tournament mode.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's like you can mix up what you're catching and make it count somewhere. That's pretty awesome. Sean, we haven't talked about goals for 2022.
I don't know. We can start talking about goals next week. This is a fond look back at 2021.
It is a fond look back.
Yeah, and I honestly haven't thought about it or prepared. So
nice.
We sound like shit enough.
We do. We really do. We really do. Awesome, man. Well, hey, this was a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. I think this is going out on 2021 on the right note. Pretty unbelievable episode here. Lots of great moments that we've had looking back through the last 12 months as far as, guests, a lot of entertainment, a lot of laughs. We've definitely shared some really good information on the show, and we're looking forward to expanding that even further into 2022. Who knows what's going to happen? Remember, as a quick reminder, February the 5th is our 100th episode recording. It's happening live in Springfield, Massachusetts at Nathan Bill's bar and restaurant in the East Forest Park section of Springfield. Tickets are available. JigsandBigs.com is where you want to go to find them. There's a little ad, a little banner right there. Just click that. I'll bring you over to Eventbrite. Get your tickets. We've got some amazing prizes up for grabs. We're doing a Deal or No Deal style parody game show. Give away some great stuff. We've got some special guests lined up. We've got past guests. We're going to do Ask Me Anything. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And there's going to be tons and tons and tons of laughs. And we're even going to have Ellie in the house on a special throne, if you will. A special throne fit for a queen.
Nate, are we going to see you there?
I'm going to try and make the ride. That all depends on what happens down in Florida.
True.
Whether or not I make it back in time.
I hear you.
When's that tournament in Florida?
I believe it's the 27th and the 28th.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Gotcha.
We're on the 5th. We're the next weekend. You'll be good, unless you're hanging around there for a week.
Unless he wins and celebrates in Florida. Yeah, exactly. Or
and then we can't wait to see all the news articles of Massachusetts man in Florida. ...
I love it.
Got enough of their own headlines.
Yeah, they do. No shortage there. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Let's put a let's cap this this year of good stuff here on Jigs and Bigs. As we always say, guys, every Tuesday you got a brand new episode of Jigs and Bigs. Great stuff coming up for you, and make sure to go ahead and check out the past episodes if you missed anything from our previous segments. We'll see you guys next time we see you. We're going out on a special song tonight. As always, take care and tight lines.
servants rape the land, obsequious and arrogant, clandestine and vain. 2,000 years years of misery, of torture in my name. Hypocrisy made paramount, paranoia the law. My name is called religion, sadistic, sacred war. I twist the truth, I rule the world. My crown is called deceit. I am the emperor of lies. You grovel at my feet. I rob you and I slaughter you. Your downfall is my gain.